From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Today is Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. The Board to reconvene. The first item is roll call.
Supervisor Gleason?
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener?
Here.
Supervisor Maggard?
Here.
Supervisor Couch?
Here.
Supervisor Perez?
Here.
Thank you. Next item is the salute to the flag. It's going to be led this morning by our CAO, Ryan Alsop, and please remain standing at the conclusion of that for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer. Thank you. Next is of course, our favorite part of the meeting. I invite Nick Cullen out here to do our pet of the week. And I believe the name of this little girl, actually is Carmel. Do I have that right?
Yeah, Carmel is her name. We've been calling her Cara for short. Good morning, everybody. Nick Cullen, your director for Kern County Animal Services. This morning I have with me our Board of the Supervisors Pet of the Week. She's about a year-old terrier mix. She's about 10 and a half pounds. She's not going to get much bigger than that.
She might need a bath.
She may need a bath, yes.
One of us does. Thanks, Nick.
I
can always rely on you.
Yeah. She's dog and people friendly. She's good on a leash. Current with her shots. She's going to be available September 12th for adoption. Her adoption fee is just $85 for somebody to take her home.
Her heart is beating really fast. I can feel that.
And so is mine.
So she's a very loving dog. How old is she, you say?
She's about a year.
And what kind of dog?
She's a terrier mix.
Okay.
She's
an adoptable dog.
Yes,
what do we
available.
know? We are 5 for 5, right?
5 for 5. Marvin was the last dog we brought out here Tuesday before last, and Marvin was adopted, I think, the following day, Wednesday.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing this, and we'll see you next week. Carmel, we'll see you if we happen to visit your new owner.
Thank you.
See you. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thanks for allowing us to do that. Next is a report on actions taken in closed session from our August 27th, 2019, 9 a.m. meeting. Ms. Rezan.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. You did meet last time, but there's no reportable action.
Thank you. The next item is our consent. Oh. The next item is our consent agenda. All items listed with a C or a CA above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one motion. If you'd like to make a comment about any of these items that I read off here in a second, now's the time for you to do that, or request separate consideration for any of those items. A member of the board has to actually request separate consideration. The consent agenda starts on page 2. It consists of items 1 through 3, and then 9 through 13, although 13 has been withdrawn and will not be considered this morning. On to page 2, items 14 and then 17 through 20. Page 4, all the items 21 through 29. Page 5, items 30 through 34. And page 6, items 38 through 44. Page 7, items 45 through 52. Page 8, items 53 through 59. Page 9, items 60 through 64, and items 66 and 67. Item 65 has a CA above it. It was on the consent calendar. It is being pulled off consent by the department, which is Public Services, and they'll address that in the normal listed sequence. Page 10, all the items 68 through 76. Page 11, items 77 through 79. That's the consent calendar. Is anyone here that would like to make an item on, or excuse me, make a comment on any of those items or ask for separate consideration of any of those items? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for a motion on the consent.
Motion on consent.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That brings us back to page 2 under the resolutions and proclamations portion of the meeting. Item 4 is a proclamation proclaiming September 18 through 29 as Kern County Fair Days, and it'll be presented by Supervisor Perez.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Come on down, Casey.
No, a lot of energy.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Really, thank you. Good energy, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Chairman, good morning, members of the board. It is that time of the year where I get to make, frankly, my favorite proclamation. As you know, Mike. I'm here with Mike Olcott, the CEO of the Kern County Fair, and of course, Casey the Bull, our mascot. And he's had a lot of coffee this morning, is my sense. So nice job, well done. This is an honor. We are recognizing September 18th through the 29th as Kern County Fair Days. We are so fortunate to have one of the best county fairs in the state, and I would like to commend the fair staff and volunteers for all they do year-round to ensure that this time-honored tradition is enjoyed by everyone. Family-friendly attractions including a petting zoo, exhibits, assortment of musical and dance acts, a circus and carnival rides, much more can be enjoyed during our fair days. Right, Casey? Each year, we all look forward to the concert performances at the Budweiser Pavilion. This year's schedule includes Nelly, Josh Turner, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Tracy Bird, Belle Biv DeVoe, Fidel Ruda, and many, many more. Kern County Fair also ensures that our agricultural industries are celebrated and recognized, supporting our local 4-H and FFA programs and engaging our youth in the agricultural education and opportunities through one of, if not the largest, junior livestock shows in the state. The young men and women who participate each year have such dedication, should be commended for their roles and duties in making our fair one of the best in California. On a more personal note, I want to thank my friend, Mike Olcott, for consistently and enthusiastically supporting the blood drives that we do here at the county. And we did ours last week. We broke a few records, which is nice. Registered 71 people, 61 were able to donate, and we had 18 brand new donors. And I'll tell you what's incredible, Mike. We had employees from 20 different county departments participate. Oh, good. That means folks came from their home, not just here, but from their work homes around the county in order to give. And they did that, I believe, in part because we offered this year 2 fair passes and a parking pass. Because of your remarkable generosity, we were able to barter for blood, and you know how important it is that we be prepared always, and that we jointly do that as a community. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, Mike, you are such a good man. You are so gracious. Every year you give so that we have something to say thank you to our employees that also encourages them to be part of the fair community. So I owe you quite a bit of gratitude and recognition today. So also, for those county employees who did not get their tickets yet, they should come by my office this week. So this is a proclamation. Board of Supervisors, County of Kern, officially proclaims September 18 to 29, Kern County Fair Days. And I'll tell you, Mike, it is so fun to see Jude get excited to see the equipment start to go up.
Oh, yeah.
That was me many, many years ago, more than I care to admit. But it is the same kind of excitement that I saw and in my home, and I know so many other families are excited as well. So thank you. This is for you and for all you do. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Thank you, Board of Supervisors. I'd like to thank you for all the support you give us. We couldn't do what we do without the security of the Kern County Sheriff's Department, which is a major force out there at our fairgrounds. As you know, we do have metal detectors this year. We do have wanding. We're putting a lot of security in place, and that is due in part by your, Sheriff's Department that you provide for us, and we thank you for that. I'd also like to thank Supervisor, I was going to say David because I've known him a long time, Supervisor Couch, for all your help with our parking lot. We have a great P Street parking lot with grindings in it now.
Last time I
So
was there,
thank
it was
you.
a bunch of mounds. You flattened that out now?
So we've
Okay.
smoothed it out with some donations, so thank you. And thank you to the city of Bakersfield for their support on that too. This year, we have a lot of interesting things going on. We made some moves. We have Frontier Stage moving. We have a bug exhibit, so I hope all the supervisors will come out and eat some bugs in our bug exhibit. We also have stilt walkers. We have a lot of great entertainment. Opening day should be our biggest opening day ever with Nellie. I think we'll probably break maybe 30, 40,000 people on the grounds. Our biggest day is usually the last Saturday, which is 70,000 people. We're expecting over 400,000 people again. And of course, our theme is food, the fun, the fair. We have about 7 new food vendors coming to the fairgrounds this year. We have a new area back in the Union parking lot area by the gate back there. And we have one new food item that I'm so excited about. It's fried chicken skins. And if you haven't had them, it's really good. As you can tell, I've tried everything. But I do want to thank you again. You've been a tremendous support to us at the fairgrounds, and I like the partnership that we've developed over the years. And again, thank you, and thank you, Supervisor Perez.
Big year because of you. Thank
Can we get a picture?
Yeah, let's right here. Let's see.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for being here today.
Can I do one more?
Oh, yes, yes. All right.
Mike, would you pass along your thanks to your board of directors as well? The job they do. Thank you. Next 2 items, 5 and 6, will be presented by Supervisor Gleason. 5 proclaims September 2019 as National Suicide Prevention Month in Kern County, and 6 proclaims September 2019 as Recovery Month in Kern County.
Motion on 5 and 6.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a regrettable pleasure to introduce these fine professionals behind me, but the topic, unfortunately, is not so pleasant to discuss. Item 5, our first proclamation is proclaiming the month of September 2019 as National Suicide Prevention Month in Kern County. Let's just talk about Kern County ourselves. In 2018, 102 residents of Kern County died by suicide. 14.1 deaths by suicide per 100,000 population. The prevalence rate of suicide in Kern County is higher than that of the state of California. Ours is 14.1, California's is 10.4. Kern County's is also higher than that of the U.S. Kern County's is 14.1. The U.S. is 13.6. We have a lot of work to do to stem this tide, and fortunately, we have Bill Walker, who's going to lead the charge and make sure this trend reverses course. And I invite Bill to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Supervisor, Chairman, members of the board. Before I start, I want to go a little off script. I have given you a packet that in it is a folder that includes the talking points I'll be going over today. You don't need to look at those if you don't want. But I want to make a comment about the dog, every week the dog that we do. And the comment I want to make is that 2 years ago, I was walking my dog in the Northeast. I live in the Northeast, so there's a scrub out there, and you can just walk forever. And while I was out there walking my dog, 2 dogs attacked me. And as they attacked me, I pulled out my pepper spray, because I always hike with pepper spray, and I sprayed the dogs, and they ran away. The dogs aren't hurt. We weren't hurt. And I wonder every time we see the dogs up here is, could that dog have been homeless in its previous rendition and maybe crapping where it shouldn't crap, and maybe doing things that it shouldn't do, but you take it in, and our animal services train those dogs. They treat them well. They get them into the right place, and then we bring them out and we go, wow, who wouldn't want that dog? People line up to help that dog, to adopt that dog. And I'm looking forward, I know things will be on the agenda later today, I'm looking forward to the humanity of homelessness being addressed like we address the issues with animals. Behind me, today we're recognizing National Suicide Prevention Month as an observance held annually to bring awareness that suicide is preventable, responds to care and treatment, that people who need help need access to care, not to be stigmatized, and that most people who overcome suicidal ideation or suicidal acts go on to have enjoyable and productive lives. Behind me is Robin Taylor, Deputy Director, Ellen Eggert, Program Support Supervisor, the famous Ellen Eggert, if you don't recognize her from television, who's our hotline Suicide Prevention Outreach and Education Supervisor. Emily Lyles, who's our behavioral health therapist and supervisor over our mobile evaluation team, and one of her staff, Geronimo Desiderio, a recovery specialist, who I'll tell you a little story about in a moment. Alyssa Lopez, who's the manager over our Zero Suicide Initiative, and Matt Munoz, our public information officer. I want to go over that data just a little bit more, just in a little detail. Suicide is the second leading cause in our nation for the age of 15 to 34. Number 2. Not just here, but in the entire nation. Overall, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death, and as was stated, there's a suicide every 11 plus 1 minutes in the United States. Every county has seen an increase in the United States of suicide rates from 10 to 30% since 2005. The rural areas are hit harder. Kern County actually is better than several counties in California. The ones that are hit the hardest are the rural counties where people are more isolated. Locally, as was stated, 2017, 121, 2018, 102, and so far this year, 82. So we are working to bring that number down, but that's still an average of 2 a week. So what are we doing? Community outreach and education, fiscal year 18-19, 6,000 Kern County community members were trained in suicide awareness, 6,000. Over 200,000 community members were reached on social media platforms. Over 1,000 community members trained in question, persuade, refer, which is a public way of people learning how to refer for suicide prevention. We're frequently on local TV and radio, and we support a survivor outreach team that reaches out after a suicide to the family directly, and also invites people to a monthly group of people who have lost loved ones to suicide. In the school-based arena, Kern BHRS has partnered with the Kern County Superintendents of School to make a DVD and a manual to train school staff on suicide prevention. Another video, More Than Sad, has been utilized in 92 school classes and has been seen by over 4,000 students. We teach applied suicide intervention skills training, and also now the school district has placed our hotline on their students' cards. So if someone is in distress, they can call the hotline immediately. Kern BHRS, fiscal year 18-19, our certified suicide prevention hotline, 24/7, over 32,000 calls. Our crisis walk-in clinic, 24/7, 5,000 served. Our psychiatric evaluation center, 24/7, 9,000 served, approximately 3,000 involuntarily under 5150s. Our mobile evaluation team, almost 3,400 call outs to the public, almost 500 of them to homeless individuals. We train in question, persuade, refer, applied suicide skills training assist, and we have taken on the Zero Suicide Initiative to make suicide a never event in our county. But I want to leave you with a story. As the director, people will send me stories, and one of the stories happens to be about the recovery specialist standing behind me, Geronimo. A call came in that a young girl called because her father was suicidal. At that moment, They also found out that the caller, that they needed a Spanish-speaking interventionist, and so Geronimo was the one who came out. We've worked 20 years with law enforcement to have a solid relationship. And instead of using SWAT or one of the other units at their disposal, they had our mobile evaluation team intervene with this individual. So instead of a bad outcome in front of his own child, there was a good outcome that got him into treatment. And those are the stories that never play out in the news. They never show up, you know, when people are ragging on law enforcement or what are people doing about those things. But those are the stories that happen every single day in our county between us and law enforcement. I want to thank the board. This board has been touched by suicide. Our city has been touched by suicide. And you've been supportive of our departments and in suicide prevention. And so we appreciate this proclamation. And Supervisor Gleason, I just want to thank you also for your personal support.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Are you guys all staying up?
They're going to stay.
All right, good. Gluttons for punishment, huh? Okay. The gluttons for punishment. Okay, you took mine.
Did I?
Bill's a klepto, didn't even know it. Our next proclamation, Mr. Chairman, is proclaiming September 2019 as Recovery Month in Kern County. This is another cool deal that Bill's taken on. Bill's leading the charge in collaboration and working seamlessly within our organization and bringing all assets to bear and targeting resources that meet requirements. He's an expert at that, and what he just talked about, Geronimo's work and the Met team, is an example of that. Well, here's another one. We're nominating September 2019 as Recovery Month in Kern County. This is during the past fiscal year, Kern County served over 4,800 new enrollees in what's called SUD treatment services, substance abuse disorders. An average is about 2,400 individuals served per month. Research has shown these individuals with the SUD will have to engage in multiple treatment episodes to begin their recovery. So it's a staged recovery that is targeting an individual and providing services to the individual on an accommodating scale so that this person gradually comes out of a diversionary program with an improved life. About 41.4% of the individuals left the treatment of this SUD, demonstrating positive progress toward meeting their treatment goals. Another example of a growing problem in our county that is being managed professionally by one of the best, Bill Walker. Bill, come on up. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Supervisor. Well, thank you. These actually go hand in hand, because what we didn't share is that a huge portion of people who commit suicide are under the influence at the time they commit suicide. National Recovery Month is an observance held annually to bring awareness that treatment for substance use disorders and mental health conditions can help people recover, improve their lives, and become pillars for our community. The Recovery Month event also helped to decrease the stigma that surrounds seeking treatment and can help friends and families encourage their loved ones to access the care they need. This year marks the 30th anniversary honoring National Recovery Month, and this year's theme is Join the Voice of Recovery. Together we are stronger. The Board of Supervisors is invited to an event that we're holding this weekend at Mill Creek Park, and we have flyers that are both in your packets and in the back, both for this and other events that support our suicide awareness as well as our recovery. Some data that was mentioned, there are approximately 327 million people in the United States, and according to the 2018 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 7.8%, or a little over 19 million, have substance use disorders. That's not including the people who are abusing it episodically, and it's not including the family members, the impact on work, the impact on health, the impact on accidents. That's just the raw number of people. In Kern County, we provide a wide array of services, which includes now a phone access system with one phone call, people get access to care and substance use care in Kern County. We have opioid treatment services, narcotic treatment programs, medication-assisted treatment. We have sober living environments where people can actually live while they're trying to live a clean and sober life. We have residential treatment services, intensive outpatient, standard outpatient, and youth services. And what's really important is a lot of prevention services. In prevention, there have been almost, in fiscal year 18-19, almost 17,000 views of posts on social media that we have put out to the public. There's been, a shout out to public health, over 80,000 views of the danger of opioids to their billboards. We participate in many community fairs and activities, always promoting the sober lifestyle. And I'd like to leave you with one story. Recover, Inspire, Support, and Empower, the RISE team, began working with this adult female in late 2018. She was not engaged with her mental health team, had reoccurring visits to our psychiatric evaluation center, our crisis walk-in clinic, and had been arrested on numerous occasions. Her family contacted RISE for assistance since the client continued to use and was now becoming aggressive. The client's behavior led to her becoming homeless and multiple contacts with law enforcement. RISE helped this client to re-engage with her mental health services, begin substance abuse residential treatment, and stay on her medication. And I love this next line, the last line. She has been preparing to discharge from substance use disorder services and is reunited with her husband and teenage son. So when I made that comment earlier about who's homeless, this lady was mentally ill, still needs treatment for mental illness, had fallen into substance use, had become aggressive, and could not live at home with her own husband and her teenage son. And now that's where she's living. And that's what recovery is, and that's what we celebrate, one life at a time. Again, I want to thank you, Supervisor, for your support of our department in recovering services, and thank the board.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Advisor Supervisor Gleason. Supervisor Maggard will present the next proclamation. It proclaims "The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind" by William, and this is according to Supervisor Maggard's pronunciation of this, so if I get it wrong, Kamkwamba. Proclaims that as the book that establishes the 2019 themes for the annual community read for the One Book Project. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you. Motion to approve the proclamation.
Second.
Let's cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Did I get that right? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be with you this morning, and pleased to stand before you to help us proclaim the 2002 One Book Project to be a success throughout our community. Of all the skills that we learned when we were children in school, I think the most useful of them, the most productive, the one that serves us throughout our entire lifetime is the ability to read and to develop a passion for reading. Reading can be done it can be used as a tool, it can be used as entertainment, it can be used to inspire, it can be used in so many different ways. And our library, Kern County Library, does a great job of trying to incorporate the entire community to come together to read, and when we adopt one book each year to do that. I'm joined by Jasmine Labasso from our, come on, kind of closer, from our library, and I just asked her what her title was, and I have forgotten it, but basically her title is she has a bucket, and she carries and catches everything that falls off of Andy's desk and makes sure that it gets done, so, including marketing. So that's what Jasmine's job is. That's close enough, right?
Yeah, it's close enough.
Okay. So this year's book is The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind by William Kamkwamba, and I know that's the way you pronounce it because who's going to correct me, right? And Jasmine told me how to say that earlier this morning. Since 2002, the One Book Project has sought to promote a culture of reading and discussion in diverse communities across Bakersfield and Kern County. The Kern County Library has also placed in, has a place for education and lifelong learning, and therefore we have this program that we do each year. This story about the boy who harnessed the wind is a remarkable story that's set in the country of Malawi. And that's where magic ruled and modern science was a mystery to the people there. Interesting premise for the book. The remarkable story is of a young man named William Kamkwamba, whose dream it was to build a windmill. And he has to overcome all kinds of adversity, ignorance amongst his friends and neighbors. It's a story of perseverance and how one person can change a community. And that's exactly what we need to have here taught here in Kern County. So I would like to give to Jasmine this morning this proclamation from the Board of Supervisors as we represent the state of California. And we have officially proclaimed The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind by William Kamkwamba as the 2019 Read for One Book, One Bakersfield, One Kern. And this recognition has been entered into our official board minutes, evidenced by the signature of our chairman, the Honorable David Couch, on this, the 10th day of September 2019. Jasmine, please tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen. And I appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to do all kinds of things as you carry that bucket for Andy.
So one of the really interesting things about the One Book Project is that we get the opportunity through a partnership with California State University Bakersfield to bring in amazing authors and amazing people to Bakersfield entirely for free to the community. Parking is free, attendance is free, and it's an opportunity to hear from these amazing authors. William Kamkwamba actually was launched to the world stage a few years ago because he was in the midst of a drought in his community, in his village in Malawi, and he wanted to somehow fix this problem they were experiencing. And so he went to the library, he checked out some books, and he learned how to build a windmill out of trash. And that windmill ended up sustaining his community. And so the wonderful opportunity that we get is that he's actually going to come to California State University Bakersfield, and we're going to get to hear from him in person. This person that everybody's been talking about for a few years, and it's entirely for free to our community. So this book is a wonderful opportunity for people to get involved with the One Book Project. The whole theme of this year's One Book Project is how we can change a community one individual at a time and overcome crippling adversity. All of our books that are accompanying this year's title are qualifiable to read, and we want people to get involved, join the discussion, attend events. If anybody is interested in reading the book but may not have time, there's a wonderful Netflix adaptation that just came out a couple months ago, so watch the movie as well. And if you want to listen to the book, go onto our Hoopla. It is free to download, and you can download it immediately. So you can listen to it, you can read it, you can choose to read one of our other titles, get your children involved, there's a picture book version. There's just a lot of avenues to get involved this year. We are also giving out free pinwheels to people that read the book at the library. So if you want to get involved, I encourage everybody to go to kcl1book.org and to figure out all the wonderful ways to attend events, join discussions, and participate in the local discussion. I also have brochures for all of you guys. Yeah, here we go. There you go. So thank you. Yes.
Thank you, colleagues.
Hang on one sec. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, do your picture. Supervisor Perez would like to jump in.
Thank you. Yes, I'll just comment. I love the One Book, One Bakersfield project. We've been for years, bringing such provocative subject matter to really think about and more importantly, bring the community together. But I wanted to give you a compliment. You're a fabulous presenter. You are really talented. These are not skills that are easy to have, and you are flawless. So, continue to hone those because you have something very special.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Can I ask you to repeat something? You talked about how to download the audiobook?
Mm-hmm. So
tell us how to do that again.
So basically, if you go, we have a service called Hoopla. If you have anybody who has a library card, which is free, they put in their library card number and they look up the title on Hoopla, and it's one-click download. It's immediate. There's no wait lists. It's entirely free, and it returns when it's all done with. And there is both the ebook version and the audiobook version, so you're able to listen to that immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Item 8 will be presented by Supervisor Scrivener. It proclaims August 2019 as Paint the Town Pink Month in Kern County. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion on proclamation.
Second.
Discuss your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. October 2019 is designated as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in order to educate and increase the public's awareness of the disease. In honor of the survivors and families impacted by breast cancer, Links to Life will be kicking off the month with Lacing It Up, a celebration 5K fun run and walk. Along with community partners, many activities will be taking place promoting breast cancer education, the importance of early detection, and the available community resources to Kern County residents during the month of October. And so it is my honor and privilege to present this proclamation to Jennifer Henry, who is the CEO of Links to Life. This proclamation states the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed October 2019 as Paint the Town Pink Month in Kern County. This recognition has been entered in our official minutes, signed by our Honorable Chairman, David Couch. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
It's October again, guys. We've been here 27 years because of Kern County, and we want to thank the board and the chairman for supporting us over these years. This year, there'll be approximately 400 women and men diagnosed with breast cancer in Kern County, and we'll lose approximately 100 to this disease. So it takes us working as a community to get women in. And the walk, which kicks off on the 5th, and we appreciate you coming in and attending this year, will be at the Park at Riverwalk, and then there's much more events throughout the month of October. We're actually partnering with the Kern County Health Department and Kern Medical. You'll hear a bit more about this next Tuesday. And we just want to thank you. I have flyers for you for a walk, so you can go online and register. And then we have rosé and whiskey if you're interested, a tasting at Imbibe, which benefits Links for Life. Yes, it's very fun, very casual. And that event is on the 17th of October. So I'll leave this and the calendar of events for you. And thank you for your support. I want to introduce the people with me. Susan Hopkins, who's our development manager. Maritza from Kern Family Health, who's been our largest supporter and fundraiser for Lacing It Up this year. And Charlotte Brandt, our past president. So it's because of community members that we're able to help, because we get no federal funding, no government funding. We get grants and donations. So thank you for supporting us. Too many steps. We're little. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, ladies, for coming today. That takes us over to public presentations. Item 15, this portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on the agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. We try to hold to about a 2-minute time limit. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public presentation? Any item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go to item 16, which is board member, I'm sorry. You have one.
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I wanted to just take a few minutes and let you know today's my last day.
Really?
I am retiring.
Uh-oh, what's he going to say now?
All the things that I want you to change, No, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you and the county for the most incredible career I've ever imagined. I've had so much fun here. And it's kind of interesting to me. I started in the advertising market and industry 31 years ago, and I was an illustrator and a cartoonist. One of my very first jobs was Casey the Bull. I created him. He was my boy. And Chester the downtown dog.
Now wait, you came up with the character, or you were in
You know
the
what?
suit?
Casey the Bull was originally a little statue that was up at the fair, if you remember, many years ago. And it was taken down. And they wanted to create a character that they could move forward with. And so, yeah, I created him as the cartoon. He was my creation. Okay. And what's interesting is the person that's in the costume has done it all that time. Same person.
Really?
Yes. And I just met him a few years ago. But I've been with the county. I've been in 5 departments. I've had way too many people that have been such a blessing and a mentor to me. Steve Flores, Rick Davis, Teresa Hitchcock. In fact, Mark Hitchcock introduced me to Steve Flores, which is what got me into marketing. Teresa brought me to Board of Trade, which became part of the CAO's office and is where I'm leaving. So I'm so thankful to so many people. And as far as fun, I mean, I created the flu fighter. The biggest thing I've ever done was the flu fighter campaign that I believe saved many, many lives through public health. I'm proud of the new SEAL that I've created, but the Sheriff's Department has graciously let me fly around in their helicopter to shoot video for the board. I've done many events. I've traveled. One of the greatest things I think I've done is with the Board of Trade and Tourism, myself and David Chavez have been able to connect with many of the county entities. And I believe that we've been good public relations ambassadors for that, as well as being able to build up the $1.4 billion tourism industry in Kern County. We beat Napa Valley. So I've worked with each of you on events, State of the County and other events, and it's just been an honor to be a part of this county and to be able to work here and leave with the most incredible memories that I never imagined when I started my career 31 years ago. About half of that's been with the county. So I'm leaving. My daughter, who was with DHS, moved to Austin, Texas. She and her husband work for Apple. My first grandchild is on the way. So we're in the process of building a home there right now, and I will be there to be a grandpa and get back into the art that I wanted to do, that I started this industry with. So thank you all, and thanks to all the people in the county that have supported me.
Well, Lauren, we're at a loss because we did not know this was your last day.
Well, Savannah has been feverishly taking over my contacts, meeting my people, going to meetings. She's up here to help with us, and she will be continuing much of what I do. And I'm thankful.
If you would like, we'd like to do a resolution for you, like we do. But what are your plans? When are you leaving?
Well, I start terminal vacation tomorrow, but I'm still with the county technically for another month. And I will be around.
Okay.
I would be honored by that. It's not necessary, but I would definitely be honored by that.
Could we all take a picture with you before you? This is
absolutely.
your last day.
Absolutely, I would love that.
And I, for my part, I know others may want to say something, and we're not prepared, but I just want to thank you for. You have always been extremely positive and upbeat, and I just have appreciated that about you.
Thank you.
So let us come down there and get a picture with you real quick.
Okay. Nobody ever takes my picture, so now at least I won't have existed.
Don't break the camera.
I know.
Please.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let's do it. I cannot believe you really dropped a bomb on us. Wow. I did.
How exciting about a grandbaby. Good for you. You're going to be one hell of a grandpa.
Thank you.
Lots of pictures, I assure you.
I will send pictures. I definitely will. The first boy in the family.
Oh, my goodness, you have a big duty to teach at night.
I will. Thank you.
Our CAO, Ryan Alsop, would like to say a couple words.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that I've appreciated knowing Lauren, first of all. He's a fantastic human being. And so I've appreciated you just personally. He's been a valuable member of our team in the CAO's office, and he will be missed. And we wish you the best, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
This isn't your last meeting. Well, we're going to have you back before you're out of
Okay.
here. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I will send pictures.
Okay. We are on to, are there any other public statements? Okay, we're on to item 16, board member announcements and reports. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you very much, Chairman. One, I just want to thank again the county employees who came out and made our blood drive a huge success on the Friday before Labor Day. So I think that's really big kudos to the county. 20 departments came out, many that are not here. So the effort was incredible and so deeply appreciated. For those of you who only got the Houchin pass that day to the fair, please come to our office. We have them now. We have an additional fair pass and also a parking pass for you, which is pretty valuable these days, as you know. As it's getting more and more expensive to go to the fair, we're cutting into that a tad bit. So really, thank you so very much, and that was a huge success. Secondly, Chairman, should we talk about our joint effort now?
I will do that. Would you like, well, let me start and you
Go for it.
throw it off, or kick it off. A few months ago, I attended a fundraiser and I raised my hand during the live auction, and I ended up with an item. And I'm not going to be able to use it. And it is a one-week stay in Cabo San Lucas at a very nice resort. I've been trying to give this away for a while. A lot of people I know have either got small children, can't go, or they've got something else that's prohibiting them. I mentioned this to Supervisor Perez just this morning, and she mentioned that, why don't I take it from there and just kick it over to you, what your idea was?
Well, Chairman, thank you for your incredible generosity to ask if I knew somebody well-deserving in the community that could use this. And immediately, I thought of Tracy Mensch. Some of you may know her. She's an advocate for, I used to say disabled community. She corrected me, it's handy-capable. So I'm working on that transition. It's an important one, certainly. And so she is such a passionate, incredible advocate for this community, for people that are in the shadows, for people who don't have traditional power. And so she has been a remarkable force in this community. She is also getting married this afternoon at 2 o'clock. I won't be here at 2, my apologies, because she's asked me to be in her wedding, and I said yes. So I'm excited about that. She's having a Disney-themed wedding this afternoon, and I'm very, very excited to partake in that. But I really want to thank the chairman for thinking of me and asking who could, if I had any ideas, and I thought Tracy was just so perfect. What an incredible act of generosity to her. I don't think she's ever done anything like this. I know her story pretty well, and I think it will go down as one of the most important things or special and precious moments to receive such an offer from you, Chairman.
Well, what I would like to do is this. It's only available September 15th, which is Sunday.
Okay.
It's coming Sunday, through the 22nd. I've tried to change the dates. You cannot change the dates. If she is unavailable to use that,
Okay.
and we will know this afternoon, right?
We will.
I'd like to offer that to some county employee that's able to take vacation between the 15th and the 22nd. So if we know of anybody here at the county that's able to take vacation, does not include the airfare. I want to underline that fact.
It just so happens that.
Yeah, right.
Now, some things come to mind that I won't verbalize. But I would like to offer that to someone in the county family that's, even if you know of someone that has done something extra special, works hard, maybe doesn't have the means to do something like that, I'd appreciate if you'd let us know this afternoon if Tracy and her husband are unable to go.
Well, thank you very much. I know few people that fight more passionately and more aggressively and more consistently than Tracy and her husband. I also want to thank Senator Shannon Grove because she and I are partnering together to move Tracy out of her old, existing, and not quite appropriate for handicappable people living into a much nicer home that is appropriate and has all of the capacities for a dignified life for her. So I really, Shannon Grove will be buying some housewarming gifts, and we'll be organizing a community to transport her things to her new home. So what a great community effort, and your generosity is profound, Chairman, and I want to say thank you.
You bet. I have one. Does anybody else have any? You two guys are exempt from the offer, by the way. I have a question about HR 2858. I think it is a bill regarding valley fever. And I'm sure that in our legislative platform, you have the authority to support just about any state or federal effort in that regard. But I would like us to take a real positive position on that, if it's appropriate, if there's still time left to do that. So I just refer that to you, Mr. Alsop. It's HR 2858. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Chairman, one more, sorry, my apologies. I also wanted to announce to the community that I will be at the White House this week with CSAC and other counties from across the country. The President has invited us to come and share our local perspectives on how we get work done. Kern County has some striking examples. Look no further than my relationship and partnership with Mike Turnipseed in how we engage in a post-partisan, results-oriented government for the goodness of this community and the well-being of this community. So it is a privilege to represent Kern County at the White House this week. I'll be leaving tomorrow. We'll be back Friday. And I'm very excited to give some examples, as we just noted here, Chairman, that we are working hard to work together to improve the community. And that is intentional, and it is the best of us. So I will represent you proudly and honorably, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that takes us over to item 35. Am I right? Yes. It's a request from First District Supervisor Mick Gleason for a presentation by Scott O'Neill, who is Executive Director of the Indian Wells Valley Economic Development Corporation, regarding significant impending economic development opportunities in eastern Kern County. Supervisor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Chairman. Appreciate it. We're honored today to be get a presentation by Mr. Scott O'Neill, a close friend and a very close friend of Kern County, and I'm just going to let him go, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman and Supervisors, for this opportunity to speak to you this morning. I am Scott O'Neill. I'm the Executive Director of the Indian Wells Valley Economic Development Corporation in Ridgecrest. I worked at China Lake for 44 years before I retired in 2016. Initially, I worked for about 15 years in rocket propulsion, then I moved into program management, where we developed an anti-submarine weapon that was launched from surface ships. And then I spent 8 years working on Tomahawk cruise missile program, particularly doing the rocket motors and the conventional warhead and the fuse. As an executive, I ran the weapons department, the Atlantic Ranges and Facilities, the Integrated Battle Space Modeling and Simulation Department, before I became the executive director at China Lake. And I was also the head of research and engineering there. I held that assignment for a decade prior to my retirement. I tell you this so you can have confidence in the statements I'm about to make. About a year ago, a number of leaders from Ridgecrest met for dinner with some leaders from Bakersfield with the primary goal of getting to know one another. A number of us were there and we saw that there's huge opportunity for growth in the Kern County area, especially if we integrate the underpinnings of the economy from west to east. A similar but larger group met again on the 19th of August to continue the discussions, but we also established some specific action items that we can take. The opportunity today is even greater and better. Today, Kern County is uniquely postured for huge growth. We have a large arsenal of assets to build off of. Importantly, some Them are key natural resources with technology now available to exploit them. Today, as in the past, oil and agriculture are the engines of our economy, but it's time to take note of the growth in the Eastern Kern. Here, defense and aerospace work at Edwards Air Force Base and NASA Armstrong and China Lake are growing fast, as is the commercial space access work going on at Mojave and the neophyte aerospace industry in Tehachapi. Also in the Eastern County, we have renewable natural resources of solar, wind, and geothermal that is being harnessed to generate electricity. With these kind of assets, I have to ask, are we valuing them properly? A quick environmental scan makes me wonder. The instability in the world today makes our defense and aerospace and space access industries extremely important and positions them for serious growth. California's decision to move to renewable energy creates huge opportunity for developing our wind, solar, and geothermal resources. And the deregulation of the electric power industry offers opportunity to bring that renewable power to market in new ways. California is changing the oil industry, and water is challenging agriculture. We need to recognize these drivers and take active steps to use all the assets we have to create increased value. We are fortunate. Many states in our union don't have near the set of assets that we have in our county. And again, I wonder, are we valuing them properly? We need to encourage growth across the county, particularly in the emerging elements of our economic base. The aerospace and defense industries and the renewable energy industries move in different economic cycles than oil and agriculture. Integrating the economy west to east will provide a hedge against the ups and downs of individual industries. Continuing our quick environmental scan, the recent earthquakes in Ridgecrest, China Lake provided opportunity, but they also provide risk. The damage on the Navy base is significant. The Navy's current estimate to cost of reconstructing China Lake's infrastructure, facilities, and laboratories is $4.1 billion. $4.1 billion. That's almost the cost of an aircraft carrier. Construction teams are already descending on China Lake to begin repairs. More will be required for the new construction in the future. Kern County contractors should watch the website, fedbizops.gov. All repair and construction work will be advertised on that website. The $4.1 billion investment in China Lake is huge for Kern County. Last year, China Lake did $1.8 billion in new orders. Its business model is fee-for-service, which means it operates similar to a business in the private sector, but it cannot generate a profit or a loss. It also means that we have to compete with other government facilities for work. Unlike most government agencies, China Lake does not get an annual budget allowance from Congress. It has to go get its work from paying customers. These are the various weapons programs that Congress authorizes and funds. Programs like Tomahawk Cruise Missile and the F-18 Strike Fighter and the F-35 Stealth Fighter and other such programs. Like private businesses, China Lake is only as good as its last job. Customers can choose to go elsewhere if it does not perform satisfactorily. That said, it did $1.8 billion worth of new orders last year. Recently, this has been growing about $100 to $150 million a year. Its payroll for its workforce of 4,500 people is about $600 million annually. That comes into this county. About $1 billion is contracted out each year. Currently, $200 million of that stays in the county. Its small purchase or credit card program is about $28 million, of which about $3 million stays in the county. So China Lake is a big part of our economic base, and it's 85% of the economic base of Ridgecrest. It could be bigger. The earthquake creates huge opportunity, but also presents serious risk. On one hand, it's a $4.1 billion investment. On the other, it's potentially losing some customers to those who are trying to compete where customers are worried about whether they can provide the service, or by other government organizations trying to poach the work. China Lake is important to Kern County. I think it's important for the importance that the county is growing, but is it important enough for the Navy to keep? It's a scary question, but as a taxpayer, it's a fair one. I say the answer is a hearty yes. We cannot sit on our laurels or our hands or watch and wait to see what happens. We have to be vigilant and active, and we have to drive the outcome that we want. So for the sake of the argument, let's ask the question, why China Lake? First of all, as a Navy laboratory, it has assets that are unique. It's the Navy's largest single land holding, and its 2 ranges have over 1.1 million acres of mountains and deserts. That's an area bigger than the state of Rhode Island. It's covered by 19,600 square miles of airspace. That's airspace set aside for military testing. That's 1/8 of the airspace over California. The complex is an irreplaceable, operational, realistic place that is integrated with its nearby oceans and islands and coastal and sea influences. With this, China Lake offers over 300 days of sunshine each year for weapons system testing, in the settings that duplicate conditions experienced in the most prominent and likely theaters of operation around the world. It's the Navy's predominant weapons and air warfare center research, development, acquisition, test, and evaluation center of excellence. Jointly with Boeing, it develops and tests all the mission software for the F-18. It gives that jet its warfighting capability. It wants to perform that same mission on the F-35 stealth fighter, which must be able to work and fight with the F-18. It develops technology for military application and prototypes new weapons concepts. And it works with industry to bring those ideas to the fleet. It supports industry in building our weapons, and it does the testing to ensure that our weapons perform as expected. China Lake exhibits a strong military-civilian team, where the military bring the knowledge of what they need operationally to be more effective, and the civilians trained in science and engineering bring the technical know-how. Since its inception during World War II, China Lake has had a long history of innovative contributions to our nation's national security. In the 40s and 50s, it was the solid rockets that were developed there, produced there, and delivered to the fleet for the war. It developed the first air-to-air guided missile, Sidewinder, which was first used in combat in Korea. It assessed, demonstrated, and advocated for underwater submarine ballistic missile launch. It developed the first anti-radar missile. During Vietnam, it developed and prototyped and tested fuel-air explosive weapons that were countered jungle and mine warfare. It developed Walleye, the first TV-guided missile, for bridge defeat. More recently, China Lake developed, prototyped, and demonstrated critical technologies for digital seekers and imaging systems that now underpin AIM-9X, Sidewinder missile that is currently the free world's principal short-range air-to-air weapon. In 2015, China Lake demonstrated a Tomahawk land attack cruise missile in an anti-ship role. It used a fleet-issue Tomahawk, an off-board over-the-horizon radar on a P-3 aircraft tracking a ship at sea, and a network battle space that provided the guidance function. The capability was deployed, giving every Tomahawk missile and shooter in the Navy an anti-ship capability. These are strong examples of the military value that China Lake brings to our national security. The earthquakes damaged China Lake, but they did not destroy it. It's open for business, but it's not at full capacity. The test ranges were damaged, but in a mere 6 weeks after the earthquakes, base engineers and technicians scrambled, patching together systems, and safely conducted its first live-fire missile test. They have a can-do culture, and they currently are looking for partners to get work done that they've been assigned. The main machine shop has been red tagged, and contractors currently working to shore up its walls so they can extract the machines. They are at about 40% capacity. So we arranged a visit between China Lake shop leaders and local machine shops here in Bakersfield. The goal was to see if we could help get China Lake work done, but it was also to build relationships and awareness of capabilities here in Kern County. We have met once since, and we'll meet again, and I'm optimistic this project will go. I'm confident Kern County businesses can rally to help China Lake's recovery. It's good for the county, it's good for the lake, and it's good for business. It's just one example of the outcome of our recent meeting. We committed to being proactive in building west to east, taking it one small step at a time, and we're doing it. Today, our nation faces aggressive near-peer threats that are agile in deploying capable warfighting tools using cutting-edge technology. Now it's a time to strengthen our technological capability by investing in an organization that has a strong history of developing and demonstrating innovative weapon system solutions, a culture that is can-do, that's focused on the warfighter, and an end-to-end capability that enables such work spanning research, development, test, and evaluation without leaving the confines of the Navy base. The organization is China Lake. We must mobilize to preserve China Lake and its whole mission of research, development, acquisition, test, and evaluation. It's critical to the future of our nation, our Navy, our people of Ridgecrest, and to Kern County. I have 3 requests. That you send a letter of support to the Secretary of the Navy and his Assistant for Research, Development, and Acquisition, and the Chief of Naval Operations, and the Secretary of Defense, and Governor Newsom, and Congressman McCarthy, and Senators Feinstein and Harris, urging them to make China Lake whole again. Second request is a commission and organization to visit East Kern, Ridgecrest, Mojave, and Tehachapi, to discuss opportunities and build relationships and establish actionable goals, and then do regular checkups on our progress. And lastly, I ask you to engage your lobbyists in Sacramento to work with California delegations to support China Lake reconstruction. I thank you for giving me time to talk, and I'm available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Scott. Stay there for a moment. Supervisor?
Mr. Chairman, thanks.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Mr. O'Neill. Let's take a couple minutes to review your statement, if you don't mind. There's a lot of people watching on TV, and there's people here that are here to support you, and there are people here trying to figure out what you're talking about, what you mean. And I think it's important, I think it's critical that we take our time to meander through your statement to truly understand its value to Kern County, because I think we're at a critical point in our history, and taking some time to understand the meaning of the word collaboration and working together, improving our economic outlook and creating a future for ourselves today is critical. So thank you for your 44 years of service at China Lake. Mr. O'Neill retired as the executive director of China Lake, of the Navy weapons mission there. What that means to us is that he is a civilian admiral. He's the equivalent of a 2 or 3 star, Mr. O'Neill?
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5. 2.5. 2.5. So you don't get much anywhere in the DOD, Department of Defense. You don't get much higher of a rank than Mr. O'Neill. In a previous life, when I worked back in Pax River, Mr. O'Neill had a reputation of being the China Laker, who was disruptive, who was winning more battles than losing, and competing well for Kern County, for China Lake. That was 10, 15 years ago. So his credentials are impeccable. He lives in Ridgecrest and has for 44 years, married, kids, grandkids. He's just a tremendous asset for China Lake, for Ridgecrest, and for Kern County. If you were to walk, if Mr. O'Neill were to walk down the road here in Bakersfield or anywhere in Western Kern, you would know him. Before today, no one in this room would probably recognize him or understand who he was. Likewise, when I was first running for office, I had no idea who Harvey Hall was. I lived in Kern County for 10 years. I had no idea who Harvey Hall was. I had no idea who Jim Scott was. Ralph Bailey was someone I never heard of, and maybe it would have been better if I kept that way. I don't know. But sorry, Ralph. But what I'm trying to demonstrate is the fact that there is a dichotomy at work here, that we truly don't understand the value of Kern County. We haven't for a long time, or maybe never, and we need to change that paradigm. We need to create a world where Kern County can optimize all its resources and all its advantage to the best interests of Kern County. We've never done that before. We've taken weak stabs in the dark at it, but we've not really had an opportunity to do that. But the earthquakes in Ridgecrest now have changed Kern County, changed China Lake, changed East Kern. It's giving us a brilliant opportunity that I think that I know we must, it demands an answer. What's happening as a result of those earthquakes? 7.1 earthquake, epicenter was on the base at China Lake, and as a result of that, the damage assessment that Mr. O'Neill talked about was a $4.1 billion expense, unfunded, unbudgeted expense that the Navy back in D.C., somewhere sitting in the corner of the E-ring of the Pentagon, are going to have to make decisions on whether or not or how they're going to allocate those resources. It is, as Mr. O'Neill said, a scary time, and right now, for us to sit back on our haunches and not take aggressive action to pursue, aggressively pursue those dollars is a waste of opportunity for all of Kern County. So it's imperative that we understand the damage assessment and get to those decision makers as quickly as we can to influence their decision. If you remember a couple of years ago, we had Admiral Moran down here. I don't know if you guys remember that. About 4 years ago, Admiral Moran came and stood there and talked to us about China Lake. He was a 1-star back then. Now he's a 3-star. And he is a 3-star sitting in the E-ring of the Pentagon, sitting at a desk with the decision makers, helping them to shape and answer the question, is China Lake worth it? Do we want to spend those dollars? The answer is a resounding yes, but the fact that they're asking those questions, and we have people there answering those questions is an incredible benefit to us, because now we can have confidence that the Department of Defense is going to make those investments in us as a county. So what we need to do is sit back at this moment in our history as the governor of California is putting the oil industry in its crosshairs and saying, we're taking you out. We are going with clean, non-fossil fueled energy. We are looking face at a world of Sigma, which is going to restrain our water consumption, our groundwater consumption in Kern County on both sides of the mountains, because we have 2 critically overdrafted basins that we're trying to manage. Now is the time to understand that although those challenges are with us today, on the other side of the mountains, President Trump has just signed a $716 billion budget for the Department of Defense. Next year, he's talking $738 billion. That's a tremendous resource that Kern County has access to. He just signed into effect establishing Space Force. Another phenomenal opportunity for Kern County, and I don't see sufficient action. I don't think we're taking advantage of the opportunity. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is the F-35, and then I'm going to ask you, Mr. O'Neill, to comment on those 3 opportunities. The F-35 is a brand new strike fighter aircraft that the Department of Defense has invested its heart and soul, its whole future in naval aviation, in Air Force aviation, in joint warfare capabilities, is put into this F-35. Kern County can play a massive role in that sustainment of that aircraft for another 30 to 40 years by doing the same thing we've done with the F-18. We have a legacy of doing it. We've done it for years. We can do it with the F-35. That would mean tremendous amount of resources and money and jobs coming to Kern County. So there's all kinds of opportunities sitting in front of us. Mr. O'Neill, thank you very much for coming down here. And could you comment for a couple minutes, or take your time and just go off on opportunities that you see and that are important to us, and then we'll talk about how we can galvanize and work together to achieve success.
Yeah, I mean, first off, the reconstruction cost itself, I think is huge opportunity. I mean, it's not just new construction of buildings, but those buildings are laboratories, and so there's a lot of equipment that has to go into those buildings that, provide a lot of the functionality in the mission that China Lake performs. And so I would estimate probably close to half of the $4 billion is really just equipment to give those buildings and the capability to support our national security. So there's not only construction work, but there's engineering services work. And there's a lot of that has to go on to be able to prepare not only to rebuild China Lake's mission, but to also posture it for the future. And in the future, one of the futures is F-35. I mean, it's a huge program. And the Navy is still, making decisions on where that jet's going to be supported. We are hoping, obviously, that we support it like we do the F-18, because by doing a lot of the mission software for the F-18 in-house in conjunction with a prime contractor like Boeing, I'm going to guess that we've saved the U.S. taxpayer over $1 billion, and over the life cycle of that jet. And I think there's similar opportunity with the F-35. The other thing about the F-35 is that we're going to have mixed carrier air wings. That means those jets, the F-18 and the F-35, are going to be aboard the same carriers for quite a long time into the future. And so those jets have to work together. And that's integrating work that has gone on historically at China Lake for the F-18 and integrating that work into the F-35. So I think there's huge opportunity there. F-18 is probably the biggest program at China Lake these days. I mean, it's, I would say on the weapons side of the docket, it's probably around a $400 million program a year. So it's one of the biggest programs for China Lake, and bringing F-35 to China Lake, of course, would sustain that. The other comment you made was about Space Command. That's still unfolding, we don't know, but the Kern County has huge assets in that particular arena. You know, not only do we have what goes on at Mojave, but what goes on at Edwards Air Force Base and NASA and China Lake all could be integrated into supporting, providing technical and test and evaluation functions for that particular command. That work has not been decided, but I think if we organized and we really gave it a full court press from an integrated perspective, we'd have a very, very, very strong argument, because not only of the natural resources we've got in the ranges, but because of the knowledge and the technical capabilities that we've got here in the Eastern Kern, that we have a good chance of bringing some of that work in. And that's the future. And so yeah, I'm excited, but we can't let the challenge of having the earth shake and cause some damage, get in the way of that. But it's not going to happen by itself. It's going to take a lot of work, and I think that the county has to, really start standing up, speaking as a voice, a single voice, and really advocating for the capabilities and the assets we've got.
So the value of that opportunity for Western Kern, let's call it Western Kern, Bakersfield, the Central Valley over here, is what? What is the value? Why is it important to us over here to help you over there?
Well, I think I made a comment about that in my statements, but first off, the economic side, it's growing. I mean, it's already a $2 billion business, and just if you look at one element of the Eastern Kern, that's China Lake. I haven't even added in what the business at Edwards or NASA or Mojave, represents, or even some of the work that's going on up in Tehachapi. But I would venture to guess it's approaching a few $1 billion. That, if we manage it right, can grow significantly. And the aerospace industries, by themselves, I'll just leave alone right now the renewable energy opportunities, but the aerospace industries moves in different cycles, economic cycles. So when oil is down, aerospace tends to be up. And so we, as a county, I think, could balance out our portfolio and stabilize our economy so we don't go through cycles we did over the last 4 or 5 years. And I think that's really important because it provides better stability and it provides better services to our citizens. So then you start adding in what's going on in solar and wind and even in the geothermal areas. And I think those opportunities are being exploited by the commercial sector. But I do think it provides opportunities for the county and how we go about purchasing that power and how we provide it to our citizens. There's deregulation going on in California power industry that I think we haven't even begun to tap yet as far as how we can generate revenues from that and even provide cheaper power to our citizens. So I'm encouraging that those are opportunities. We're not only generating the power locally, but we can actually be buying the power and producing and selling it back to our customers at a better rate and a better deal for the county and a better deal for the customer.
So you mentioned a couple things. I just want to touch on a couple of them you mentioned. $28 million in small purchases, credit card purchases that are made out of $28 million every year out of China Lake. $3 million of those dollars stay in Kern County. That's significant leakage that should not be occurring. How can businesses over here capture some of those dollars?
Yeah, I think part of it is just becoming better aware of what's available in the county. We don't have that conversation.
Right.
And one of the things that we're trying to do in the Economic Development Corporation is we're gonna be aligning with the city and some of the other commissions in the city to buy a service so that we can do a better job of understanding and analyzing the markets. Where we have a $600 million annual payroll just from China Lake, and that doesn't include the hospital or the school district or anything, but a lot of that money ends up going outside of the county and outside of Ridgecrest. And so we are going to try to identify where that leakage is and then work with other businesses here in the Bakersfield and the broader Kern County area to see how much we can, what can we do to be more proactive about keeping some of that money home.
So,
go ahead.
Well, in order to achieve those objectives, we need to truly understand, we change paradigms, and we have to understand. So I'm trying to provide as many graphic examples to make it easy for everybody just to understand that there's a dichotomy, there's a wall between East and West Kern, and we got to get rid of that wall to achieve our full potential.
Right.
And it's worth businesses over here investing in over there. They don't have to move over there. They don't have to relocate over there. All they have to do is be aware of opportunities over there. And your statements about the machine shop is a graphic illustration of the success Bakersfield businesses can have by competing and winning in a favored status.
We have two things against us. One is that the people who are needing the services over on the eastern side don't know what's available.
Right.
In the county. And then we also have in the county, particularly what I found out when we visited a lot of the machine shops in Bakersfield, was that they don't do a lot of business with the government, so they don't know how. And so I think those are easy things that we can do to help them. One, the government side can get more aware of what's available, and then we can actually help some of the local business become more competitive, if you will, in being able to pursue government contracting, which is not easy by any means at all, and it becomes a barrier for entry for new people trying to deal with the government. So I think that there's things that the economic development corporations can do to help that problem, to help bridge that.
So, okay, so the ask today is a letter. One is a letter. A letter from us to a bunch of politicos that can highlight this issue and help us assert ourselves as the best place in the country to do business with the Navy, the Air Force, and Space Force. You know, you look at across the country, I know that the relationship between the federal government and Florida is much better than the relationship between the federal government and California. I mean, it's just easy. Florida gives them things to track business. We tend not to do that in California. We need to change that. We need to work on that, but we can't necessarily control that. What we can control is a letter to all the politicos, ensuring them that they understand that we are in need and we are the best place in California or in the country or in the world to perform business in Kern County, and that's why it's in their investments' best interest to help support us capture those $4.1 billion. The second thing, Mr. O'Neill, you asked for is a lobbyist. We have a state lobbyist that we're gonna get him going. We're gonna stimulate that. We're gonna stimulate our federal lobbyist. Mr. Alsop, would you please keep me posted on how we go about doing that and have that lobbyist give me a call? Maybe what we can do, Mr. O'Neill, is set up an interview with that lobbyist at a joint time where me and you can sit down and share with him our thoughts about how to move forward, or any way, Mr. Chairman, that you want to do that.
Well, I was going to ask, the recommended action is just hear the presentation, but there were 3 specific requests made. How many of those can we act on today, based on the way we're agendized? Can we act on all of them? If we can,
I don't see why not. We can do those.
Okay. And the third one is, I think we need to formulate somehow, come up with figure out how we're going to create this exchange. I had a wonderful experience yesterday at the branding ceremony that was done where we're trying to create an environment where we're saying Kern County is the best place in the world to do business, the best place, a comfortable place to raise your family. It was a wonderful presentation. It was uplifting. It made us look really good, which we are. We need to take that same that needs to be an element of some type of exchange, and we need to set up some type of organism where we have the Navy jobs that are available and the Bakersfield business, the supply and demand meet and understand each other. And so I'm looking forward to capturing some ideas from Megan to help me out, understand how to do that, and from you to help how we can get the Navy to participate in this. I think our next step is to come together and have a conversation about how to understand and compete for and win those dollars, because they're so critical to our future. Finally, I want to say thank you, Mr. O'Neill, for coming down. Enjoyed it. I'm sure the Navy's watching this program. I'm sure our buddy back in D.C. he's a Packer fan, but we'll forgive him for that. But I'm sure he's watching. He watched all the way through the water issues that Eastern Kern is faced with, and he was monitoring very closely, and he assured me that the Navy is fine as long as we have a plan for sustainment with water. All his words were to me were, Mick, give me a plan, and we're going to do that come January. So we'll have the plan, We're going to formulate an exchange. We'll set up some time to establish that exchange, build it, shape it any way we want, and then create success for Kern County. Mr. O'Neill and my board, thank you very much for your patience, and thank you very much for coming down, Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, but would you like to make a motion to move forward with the 3 recommendations that Mr. O'Neill outlined?
I'll just make a motion to move forward with those 3 initiatives that, and under your leadership, we can get this ball going.
Sounds good.
Let us open this up to public comment, and so stay close, and
Sure.
we'll allow the
Thank
public to comment on that. But we have a motion on the floor already. Supervisor Scrivener, would you like to jump in first?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Something that Mr. O'Neill, first of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership and everything you've done over your illustrious career at China Lake. It's been a pleasure to get to know you and see you in action. I know you still are involved in the community, so we appreciate you, and thank you for coming and initiating these requests, and Supervisor Gleason, also to you. I remember when I was first running for this office, the term that I heard was the cactus curtain. That's the barrier between East and West, and that's something that we need to continue to break down. And there are a lot of organizations, I think, that have done a better and better job at trying to do just that. But I think the more that we can cross-pollinate between East and West Kern, the better for jobs, resources, understanding. I mean, there's just a list of good reasons to do it. But the reason I punched in, Mr. Chairman, one thing that Mr. O'Neill mentioned when he was talking about renewable energy, he was talking about energy generation. I think alluded to something that I made a referral for maybe about a year and a half ago called community choice aggregation. Basically, that's a program that allows cities and counties to buy and or generate electricity for residents and businesses that are within that area. We kind of put that on hold because there were some questions that were remaining to be answered by the state Energy Commission, and so those questions I believe have been answered now. And so could we also make a referral, please, to Thomas Brown, who worked on this initially, for us to get a refresher on where things stand with that and to see if we want to pursue that, because I think that there are definitely opportunities for us to provide some benefits to our community and kind of control our own destiny when it comes to power. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Neill, let me open this up to public comment, but stay close. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on this item? Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Honorable Chairman, members of the board. Romeo Agbalog, Executive Director of Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government, appearing before you this morning to thank you for listening to Mr. O'Neill's presentation. Thank you to Supervisor Gleason for fostering this discussion before this body, and thank you, Mr. O'Neill, for your presentation. On behalf of Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government, I'd just like to ask your board not only to approve the motions that are before you today, but also continue to have this discussion. We feel that it's beneficial for Kern County's economy, for the various industries to have discussions and talk and find ways to work together and support one another. And for those reasons, I just urge you to continue having the discussion and ask for your support on the motions before you today.
Thank you. Morning.
Good morning, Chairman Couch and fellow supervisors. My name is Richard Chapman, President and CEO of the Kern Economic Development Corporation, and I'm excited to support the resolution. Because of Kern County, East Kern, we are actually the second most diversified economy in the country. Yes, we have oil and we have ag, but the innovation that comes out of East Kern really puts us over the top. And if you look at our top 10 rankings, I think half of those at least are due to East Kern, be it the China Lake, Edwards, or Mojave Air and Spaceport. And I think this is critical. It's a critical time. About 10 years ago, we started the East Kern Economic Alliance, and it was really designed to, to have a discussion and dialogue between the Eastern Kern communities. But more recently, we've talked about bringing the East Kern Economic Alliance meeting to Bakersfield. And I think we have to strike while the iron's hot. as Supervisor Gleason mentioned, about communication. I think they get LA News and LA TV stations. As Bakersfield, we have different communication channels. And I think that getting this tapestry of East Kern and West Kern together on the same page, we have, as was mentioned previously, we have some of the top 10 accolades, and the economic impact of China Lake is incredible. I mean, if you look at both the direct, induced, and indirect impact, it's more than $2 billion. It's probably $4 or $5 billion. And so we're excited as much as we can be a steward for this effort moving forward. And I think the stars are lining, and we control our own destiny. I truly believe that. And we have this task force, you mentioned the Space Force. We have the public-private partnership that I think is going to put up a good fight and be successful in the end. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Nick Ortiz with the Greater Bakersfield Chamber. Just to appreciate Supervisor Gleason bringing this forward. One of the things that was mentioned was around the branding initiative that was launched yesterday, and that was a really unprecedented collaboration of the private sector, trade associations, local government, to try to really tell a new narrative about our county, our economy, and the opportunity that exists here. And one of the most important things about the Kern County brand narrative is how much it aligns with our history around innovation and aerospace in Eastern Kern County. It's something that sets us apart. It's something that we have to protect. And from the standpoint of Supervisor Gleason, and I know you've been banging this drum for quite some time, and I've heard you talk about our need to develop that connectivity between the Valley and Eastern Kern County, and how we can spur innovation that really lifts all boats. And so, we're the Bakersfield Chamber, we're not the Ridgecrest Chamber, but from the Valley perspective, we are most certainly willing to partner and most certainly willing to try to improve that connectivity for the betterment of Kern County's economy. So appreciate this discussion and you bringing this forward.
Thank you. Any other public comments on this item? Mr. O'Neill, you have any closing comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, just one. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you very much. We have a motion. We don't have a second.
Second.
Yet. We have a second from Supervisor Scribner. Any other comments by the board? Discuss your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward, Supervisor Gleason.
Madam Clerk, let me ask a question, Mr. Chairman. Do I need a separate motion on the community choice aggregation referral, or is that part? We agree to have that be part of the...
I would say as long as the maker of the motion
Absolutely.
agreed to
Absolutely.
include
Okay.
it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It will be included in the motion.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is item 36. It is a response to an August 20th, 2019 request by Supervisor Maggard concerning the development of a low-barrier traditional housing and day-use facility to address homelessness, and the approval of a low-barrier navigation center on county-owned property at 2731, 2735 O Street. Mr. Alsop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. If I could get the clerk to maybe pan out. If you can just pull back a little bit. If you can. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you very much for taking this item up today. I have a sort of a speech here. I normally, on most of these items, we'll prepare for them in advance and writing comments out, and I've done that here, and I'm just going to sort of go without them. Obviously, this is all in my mind, but I want to really have a conversation, a serious conversation today about a massive problem in our community that is getting really progressively worse by the week. I want to start by saying that my own family and I have had personal involvement with homelessness with an immediate member of my family. That family member is a loved son, a loved brother who was homeless here in Bakersfield. Without the support of my family, really particularly my dad, who shows up and takes time to engage, visit with, even more than I do, admittedly, with my brother. Without that support, without the support of his family, this beloved, tame individual would be somebody walking around downtown. And so this is personal for me. He'd be walking around, he'd be fighting for survival. It was a mental health issue and continues to be. And he would be fighting for his very survival, for food, shelter, and even places to go to the bathroom when most places don't allow you to go. So we have a lot of those types of folks on our streets in our community. They're not all like that, but we have a lot of them. We need to do something to address the problem that we have. The count on homelessness has increased this past year with the point-in-time count in Kern County. I believe it's north of 1,300. 80% of that problem is right here in the city of Bakersfield. 80% in the Bakersfield and the Metro Bakersfield area. That 80% of that problem, while it's really all over, you can point to the various spots in the city, in the metro areas. It's really manifested and felt and seen in the downtown area. That should concern us all, whether we're the city or not. This downtown area of Bakersfield is a major economic driver for this county, for this community, and that's something that should be on our minds. North of the river, up the Chester corridor, North Chester, along the river, into Oildale, into Old Town Kern. We see these folks every day on our streets, and it continues to be a problem. So we're here before you this morning in response to a referral that was made in August by Supervisor Maggard with the full agreement of the entire board. And that referral was to come back with regard to the establishment of a low barrier navigation facility here in Kern County. Low barrier navigation center that facilitates best practices in getting homeless individuals off our streets into some shelter, into some coordinated care, wraparound services, and on to getting back on their feet with sustained mental health treatment or drug abuse treatment or job training, and ultimately housing, affordable housing at the end of the day. Specifically this morning, we are seeking your board's approval to use a site that the county owns. It's a county-owned property. It is underutilized, industrial zoned, county-owned property that has been sitting there for years. To use that property to develop such a facility. It's 1.5 miles from my home, this property. The property's on 5 acres total. It sits behind our Veteran Services building. The space in question where we would develop these facilities is on 3 acres. There's 23,000 square feet of existing warehouse space that's air conditioned. It's fenced and gated. There's a train track and industrial zoned areas immediately to the north. There is an ugly recycling center with trash strewn all outside the fence, blowing around every day, that's extremely noisy, that's zoned industrial to the east. There is a highway immediately to the south that people are using to get from one end of town to the next. Across from that highway is a county-owned building, Orali's building, Craig Pope's building. To the west is M Street and more county-owned property, zoned industrial. You look at this overhead that I provided, the site in question is right here. Here's Wheel Park. Wheel Park is zoned open space parkland, and it's the only green spot in this entire area. This is county-owned property, this whole square. Veteran Services is up here. There's old adobe buildings here that need to be torn down. It can't be used. The facility we're talking about is right here at the back. Across the street, recycling. To the back, train tracks, industrial warehousing. To the south, Golden State Highway, and again, all the way to the west, M Street. LI, which you can see in all those properties, is light industrial zoned. Low barrier shelter is a best management practice. It's being utilized in communities throughout the state. It's being utilized in San Diego. It's being utilized in San Luis Obispo and other areas. I had the pleasure of being invited to the meeting last week that was hosted by Kevin McCarthy, Congressman McCarthy. There were a bunch of individuals there. I showed up. There were lots of homeless service provider folks. Most of these folks in the audience, a lot of them were there. We heard from Kevin Faulkner, who's the mayor of San Diego, about their journey into development of what they call bridge facilities. These are the same low barrier shelters. They're having success. The idea here is to address a deficit that we have in this community today. We are at capacity. All of the service providers and everything they're doing, we are at capacity. And we have a problem that has evolved to a point where it needs a commensurate response from all of us. We need to evolve. There is a deficit, there is a lack of open bed space in this community, and open bed space that allows for people that have pets, or people that have partners, and people that have possessions to show up, hang out, stay the night in a safe place where you can go to the bathroom, you can take a shower, you can get some clothing, you can be in a cool place in the summer, you can be in a warm place in the winter, you might even get a meal. You can store your possessions, and you'll know that those possessions that you have, no matter how crappy we all think that they are, you can store those because they're yours, they'll be safe, and we'll create this environment, and people will show up. And with available bed space, our law enforcement agencies, in partnership with us, will move people along off of our streets and out of the downtown area, and out of the Old Town Kern area, and out of the north of the river area. But lots of people who are encamped, I could draw a mile around this with a circle, and there are tremendous homeless encampments just right in this area, in this central area. They'll show up, and when they do, we will wrap services around them, because that's what the county does. Job services, pet services, mental health services, addiction services, veteran services, public health, Kern Medical. They'll all be there. They'll all be there. Housing, Richard Pels. Stephen Pels. They'll all be there in a centralized location with the goal of getting these populations back on their feet while we're keeping them off of our streets and out of the downtown area and in a safe place, with a mission to try our best to change their lives. I'll show you some other pictures here. This is the facility. If you're standing on the street here, this is O Street. Whenever I'm down here, there's trash, mattresses all over the street. It's pretty sad. It's really been that way since I was a kid. Most of this whole area, in fact. This is the facility right across. Storage, warehousing, air-conditioned warehousing. It goes all the way back, warehousing, with a construction of a larger tent facility at the back. In San Diego, they have constructed, they've used a company called Sprung to construct I believe this is a 100 bed, 150 bed, it might be more, capacity facility. It's in a similar industrial area, although you can see some probably affordable housing there in the back behind this. This facility allows people to come in a safe place with their possessions, with their pets, no questions asked. We're going to engage with you, and allows them to stay the night, hopefully for a transitional period of time, which would be our goal. There's another view without the folks in it. Here's a property. M Street to the right, O Street to the left. That's our block we own. We own the entire block. I'm missing my pen, but we're not talking about this area, even though we own it. Talking about this area. Sprung shelter, utilization of this area, the entrance is down here, overnight parking. We got a big need in this community for a place for people to go to park their car or camper and stay overnight. These are people that are parking in business lots or nearby. If they're not in the lot, they're on the street near businesses. You can come here, no questions asked, and park. And you can use the bathrooms that we'll have out here for you. It's a big area. Again, zone industrial. This is what we're talking about again today, just to end this. This would be subject, use of this facility would be subject to an operational plan that we must develop. I am not an expert in this. We do have lots of experts in the county at various things, and we're bringing them all together, and we're speaking to our partners that have been doing this work in the nonprofit world for a long time to help inform this. We're looking at other places and best practices and how other people are doing it to inform how we do this. An operational plan will inform cost. The number one issue is not an upfront cost, which is highly achievable, in my opinion, knowing our budget. It is the ongoing operational cost of a facility like this. And I'm not even going to mention, even though it's in the board letter, I'm not going to speculate on that, because it will be, the operational plan will inform what that is. And we will bring that back to your board in the coming weeks to let you know that this is what we need, what we believe we need to operate it to ensure safety, to ensure that it's managed well, and to ensure success. This is what we think it'll cost. We'll bring all that back to you for an additional decision by your board on whether or not you'd like to move forward with it. What we're asking today is for you to signal, send a clear signal to this community, to our stakeholders, our partners in this, our county team who deal with this every day across many, many agencies, to send a signal to the city of Bakersfield and their administration and their city council, who we have been talking with and we will continue to talk with. They are working very hard, by the way, to find solutions. And it's not easy. We have made this property available to them several months ago. We've made it available to them. They are wanting to ensure that the decisions that they make are good decisions, they're sustainable, and they provide for good outcomes. And you can't blame them for that. And I don't. We continue to talk with them, and a partnership with them on this issue will be necessary. And this decision today by your board, I hope, will signal to them that you all have cleared the decks and have prioritized not only the issue, but this particular site for this particular use at the earliest possible convenience, subject to an operational plan and getting funding in place. But I believe that as they consider those options, this is an immediate solution for the development of up to, if not more than 150 beds in a very low cost, centralized, economies of scale, perfect site to achieve success. And I believe that if we did it and we were coordinated and we continue to work hard, we could get this done before the end of the year. So with that, I will be happy to answer any questions you have.
Would any members of the board like to ask any questions or make any comments before we open it up to the public? Okay, let's open it up. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment on this item? Please come down to the front row. I know there's going to be several of you. If I could get you to come to the front row so we can get you the microphone quickly. Who wants to be first? Jess? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for volunteering.
Board of Supervisors, I wouldn't normally be here. My phone started ringing this morning, and this was brought to my attention as a point of concern. As you know, I own a building downtown within less than a mile of this location. My concerns with this is not about timing. Timing's perfect. This location has some problems in its access. The roadways, you know, you're talking about people crossing roads. I've seen homeless people get hit by cars in town. So we have access issues that I'd like to understand a little bit better for these individuals to safely egress and ingress into the facility. Is this going to be a permanent facility? What is the future of this facility? Because if it's intended to be a permanent facility, then what we're creating is either an impoundment for nighttime, some kind of holding cell arrangement. I mean, it's hard to define what this is because our intents are good. I commend everybody for their intent and effort in this endeavor. But what we have is the wrong location if it's the only location. If it's part of an integrated process where we can gather this population of people who, by choice or by fate, have found themselves in very difficult circumstances, and we're going to try and solve this problem with 150 beds, it won't work. First of all, let me tell you, there are more than 150 souls who need security and safety and assistance. So we have to have a place to overflow into. So this isn't I'd like the county and the city to work together and find all of the solutions necessary, because if this becomes the only solution, you're going to create a new red-lined area for business. Business will leave. Business has been very patiently waiting to see what the solution would be. This is putting the solution smack dab in the center of the problem, which if you're driving a nail into a piece of wood, yeah, but we can move the nail, we can move the problem by finding a place where we can put all the security, all the pieces that we need for those souls, and move them to that location, gather them, take them away from the area where it impacts the community adversely. I mean, I can tell you, I'm very fortunate. I can only count on one hand the number of times that I personally have had to remove excrement from my entrances to my buildings. That's untenable, folks. Now, putting this location there may solve the problem at night, but I'm not sure it'll solve the problem during the twilight hours, during the daytime. And again, having seen these people get hit by cars, if you put them on, where they're crossing Golden State, I mean, you got to put some kind of crossing mechanism that allows them to safely cross. Otherwise, I think you'll just be causing them to get hit by cars, and that's unfortunate. So, we have three legs of a stool that we're trying to build here. Safety of these individuals, an opportunity for them to improve their lives, and reduce the impact to the community. And that's the one that I want to really focus on, because this is it's a timely solution if it's part of an integrated solution, and that's an important thing to me. If we cannot find a place to take the other people other than the 150 that I think Ryan correctly said, we can do this quickly, but what happens when it overflows? Because when people know that this set of services is at this location, it creates an additional attractive nuisance. And the road to hell's paved with good intent. And as a business person, I've seen this happen where somebody opens up a new service and whew, they just zoom into it and take advantage of it, and it just becomes a problem for the businesses. With that, I want to thank you all for your efforts.
Could you give us your name for the record?
Oh, Jesse Frederick.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Who'll be next?
Good morning, Chairman and Board. My name is Ken Mulder. I enthusiastically support the proposed transitional shelter. It begins to meet a huge unfilled need for shelter. I would point out that the last official count showed over 800 folks in the county who are unsheltered. This 150-bed transitional shelter leaves 650 folks who remain unsheltered. I would request that additional solutions be explored and implemented as soon as possible, so every single person in Kern County has basic shelter. Thanks to Ryan Alsop and staff for all the hard work on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulder.
My name is Kyle Carter. I'm here to speak on behalf of the obviously proposed facility that you want to have there. It's a little bit of a surprise to me when this came about just a couple of days ago. just to give you a little bit of history, 52 years ago, I got my first job, paying job in construction, and I've been in construction all my life. 10 years ago, my wife and I moved downtown and into this beautiful home on Elm Street and 21st Street. And just maybe a year or two later, we bought an old building downtown and built the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame. So we're up and down 21st Street a whole lot. We've been there for a decade now and dealing with these problems, and they have been more than 5, more than 50, more than 100. It's overwhelming to have to deal with these people, and we've had enough. We've had enough. Things that you just wouldn't even believe have been happening. It's overwhelming, and I don't want to explain them to you. I mean, defecation, masturbation on our buildings, people jumping in our backyards with it, beating on our windows at night. So we decided we would do something about it. Being Christian people, we have a heart for these folks, and we decided we would start doing something. So I began to get on every board I could possibly get on. Here in Bakersfield, the Downtown Business Association, Keep Bakersfield Beautiful. I'm a trustee at our college. Just on and on and on. I am currently on the board at the Bakersfield Homeless Center. I'm on the executive committee there. But I'm not here on behalf of them. I'm just saying all that because I have a lot of experience in this. I've read. 10 years ago, I started reading up on homelessness and what causes it, why is it we have all these different problems. Lewis Gill and I, a couple of years ago, got together and we realized that we were going to have a possibility of a sale of our property there on Truxton, the Bakersfield Homeless Center, to high-speed rail. And so we started scouting out properties that we could buy and build a homeless center and build pretty much exactly what you guys have stated here. We didn't know that then, but we do now because we have traversed most of the western United States, Lewis Gill and I, and some other of the faculty members at times. We went out on trips to these places to find out best practices, find out what other people are doing, and I got a heck of a education there. So I have to say that you're on the right track. That's exactly the vision of what we wanted to do at the Bakersfield Homeless Center. We went to several places, and all of them but one were 100% financed by the government, by the cities, by the counties, by whoever. They were 100% financed. They bought the buildings, they hired the staff, they paid for the food, the bedding, everything. And it was quite an expense, and it was an ongoing expense. And let me tell you something, anytime you subsidize anything, you get more of it. That's the law of subsidizing things. And I got to warn you, as the county, you've got to be very careful about this. This is a big deal. The one place that wasn't supported by the government was in San Antonio. It was a huge, and if you want to see somebody who does it right, it's San Antonio, Texas. It's funded by some oilmen. And every year they have a golf tournament, and they fly in their jets, and they're expecting to drop a few $1 million each. They raise about $35 million every year to run this facility. It's 22 acres in San Antonio, Texas. It's in an industrial area. They have one building sitting right in the middle of it that's a huge concrete tilt-up building. And it's got 180 service providers in there. You can go in there, you can get your teeth fixed, you can get your legal problems solved, you can get your mental problems solved, you can get your medications, you can get anything in the world that you need, anything you need to fix your life, you can go in there and get it on this one piece of property. Then they have housing, they have dormitories, they have apartments, they have step-ups where you can go and they have a back to work program. It's just amazing. It's called Haven of Hope. If you want to Google that, if you want to go visit there, that would be a good thing to do. We've gone there and it's quite an educational process to do that. But I bring that up because they have a small portion on that property that is what you're talking about. It's a low barrier. It's very small, not even a portion of what you're talking about. And it takes 22 armed security guards to maintain that. 22. It's 24-hour security. It takes 22. You imagine what that costs? We would love to have 22 armed officers downtown on any given night. It's 22 armed people just to maintain that one place, that one little area. You're bringing in all kinds of people with all kinds of problems. And these people are business people. They're in the business of survival. They're in the business of taking care of themselves, and they'll do whatever it takes to do that, from selling their body to getting into gangs, to drugs and all this other kind of stuff. And it's a place where they congregate and they meet, and and you're creating an office for them, so to speak. So this is one of the things that it's a throw off of what you want to do. That's why they have such a huge security team there to try and thwart this. When you walk into theirs, you do have a checkpoint. You have to leave your weapons. You can't come in with your weapons. You have to leave your drugs. You have to. It's just not a free-for-all. We did also visit some of the navigation centers up in San Francisco area. We actually went up, walked through them, visited them, talked to the people living there, talked to the people managing it. And they had it's a secured system where you walk through several gates and you have to go through security. It's not just a free-for-all. There's a lot to this. And I would just hope that the county would understand this. But more importantly to me, as a businessman and a person who owns several $1 million worth of real estate right where you're talking about doing all this, and I'm worried about what you're going to do to our community, to our little community there. You can call it Mill Creek, you can call it, East Chester, you can call it whatever. But right now in that area, there is a glimmer of hope. There's new small restaurants, small businesses coming in there, and it's exciting to me. The Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame is one of those. We're providing entertainment. We don't make any money at it, but we're doing it out of, just because we want to help our community and make something great. My wife and I, my wife's on the Downtown Business Association board right now, and a few months ago, we tried to pass a P-bid. And my wife and I worked very hard on that to get that passed, and we met a lot of the business owners in our area. And most of them are just like me. They have other businesses that are supporting the businesses that they have downtown. We met, and it was surprising to me that every business is not profitable, guys. So a lot of these people are doing it out because they love downtown and they want to see downtown prosper. Bob Smith is a friend of mine. He sits on the city council, and he's like me. He's poured millions of dollars and thousands of hours of his own time just trying to make downtown work. If you plop this in our little community, you're going to devastate us. You're just going to devastate us. So I would think about another area for this. I would also like to see the county work together with private organizations to make this happen. I'm a taxpayer, and I would hate to see our county get stuck with something that you can't get rid of. When I first got involved with this 10 years ago in trying to understand the problem of homelessness, I went and met with Kim Albers, who her and her husband started Flood and ran it for many years successfully. And I talked to her, I said, you know what, why don't we just have a place that we can have them go and just dump them, kind of like a park situation where they could all go and have a place. And she said that would be the worst thing you could ever do. And we talked for about 3 hours that day, and I walked away with a different mindset. I would suggest that maybe you talk to Kim Albers. She's out of the area, but I know that she would be happy to talk to you about that. She's gone on to other things, but in the same vein of work. So those are my concerns. I have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. We're working very hard at the Bakersfield Homeless Center. We've bought property on Union Avenue and Truxton in California. That little area, we've bought a few pieces of proper parcels in there behind the mental health services building. And I think that's a better area. I really do. I think that's an area that we can take. I think it'll harm the local businesses much, much less. I think it's better served by the roadways. I think it's something that the county could go together with private agencies and come out with a better outcome, because there's much more that we can do than what's been talked about here. There's also the jobs. I don't know if you're aware of what the Bakersfield Homeless Center is doing, but we have an amazing jobs entity that we have, where we do cleanups and what have you. I think that you guys have been helping out with giving us some work, and we muchly appreciate that. But we like to expand that. And the gentleman here, Mr. McNeil, you know, those jobs at over there at the Air Force Base are amazing. They're all prevailing wage. If you're over there pushing a broom, you're making $35, $40 an hour. And I think this is something through the homeless center that we could do. We could work along with you and provide personnel, people who need jobs. This is a workup. When I owned Kyle Carter Homes, that's what we did. All of our people, we trained ourselves. We started out, we put them on a broom. If they did well, we gave them a shovel and taught them how to use that. And we transitioned them up. If they did well on a shovel, we put them on a tractor and taught them how to do that. We ran them through customer service. After that, we made them a superintendent's helper. We put them in one of our touch-up crews. And we worked them up through the system. By the time they were done, we had great people. We trained all of our people. When I sold Kyle Carter Homes, they all disbanded. And my people, the people I trained, ran the 3 largest building companies here in Bakersfield for some time, the people I trained. And that's how we did it. And that's how we're going to do it at the Homeless Center. And that's how we are doing it. And we need your help. Traditionally, the governments haven't been financing us much over there at the Homeless Center, and we'd like to see that. We'd like to see some more help from you and from the city. So anyway, with that, those are my concerns. We are forming a coalition that could possibly go against this and fight this, because we know it's going to do a lot of damage to our area. And so, but we really appreciate and applaud what you're doing. I think it's timely, and I think it would be better in another area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. By the way, I want to apologize to you and Kim. I walked right by you and didn't recognize you. I guess I need more.
Oh, it's my new walker that
No,
I have.
it's not that. I didn't expect to see you today. After talking to you the other day, I thought you'd be at home still recovering.
You know, thank you for your call. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Morning, Mr. Chair, board members. I'm Jim Wheeler, Executive Director of Flood Bakersfield Ministries. And I just want to address some issues and support the staff this morning on their proposal. I promise you that no matter where you try to cite a shelter, there's going to be opposition. And my heart goes out to Mr. Carter and the members of the downtown businesses. I'm a member of the DBA, our organization is. I'm a block captain. I see what's going on in the downtown area, and with all due respect, we have an issue already. We have a problem already, and we need a solution. And one of the solutions, whether it's temporary or it's more permanent, we need a place for people to go. We need a day drop-in center, and we need a safe sleep place for people to sleep at night. We have a contract with the county to provide street outreach services, and we can only make so many referrals because there's no resources available. We need a shelter, and we need a shelter as soon as possible. This is only going to be a part of the solution. There's some exciting things that are happening with the Homeless Collaborative. We're working together with the city and the county. We're creating a new nonprofit organization, and there's going to be additional staffing that will help lead the conversation on addressing homelessness in Kern County, Bakersfield and Kern County. And that's all in the pike. But for right now, we need a place to send people. We need a place that people can go and they can start getting the help they need. In addition to that, by having a shelter, we will be able to start enforcing some of the anti-camping ordinances. We'll be able to incentivize people to go to the shelter because the law enforcement will be able to address those issues. And so again, I challenge you to take the lead on this, to do what's necessary to create a shelter and to get one up as soon as possible so that we can start addressing the issues. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler.
Rudy Gonzalez, Bakersfield, California. I last spoke on the 30th, excuse me. Since then, I've had conversation with Mr. Grant, who is the Diocese of the Catholic Church up in Fresno. I've spoken with the Islamic leader, Imam Muhammad, and I've spoken with Ravinder. Ravinder Singh is the son of the head guru here in Bakersfield. And they had an idea in terms of networking with the religious organizations here in town that may bring community business. It may bring community ties a little closer, familiarity, a little stronger home and defense, as well as finances. Possibly there was talk in terms of a religious fair, maybe like in April. They have a schedule kind of tentatively, but nothing's in agreement yet. It would be strengthened with community council, city and county. It would go great. AIDS drive, cancer drives, everything with the idea of supporting to minimize taxpayer money and also to budget capacity space, of course, for public safety and things of that nature that we have voted as priority. Another avenue is I've gained federal and state approval for a $1.4 billion allotment, allocation, appropriation through block grants, VAWA, circa 2013. I've gone to great lengths of, and if it's okay, I could leave it with your secretary so we can kind of, if there's any questions or any way you guys want me to, I'll be happy to take any requests, any questions, anything I need to add, change, so as that we can get it accomplished for accountability wise. So again, I'll leave my number with you guys' districts, and please, if you'd like to speak to Mr. Padilla, Mr. Becerra, local, state, and please feel free to have, I'll be available at your discretion, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Good morning. My name is Deborah Johnson. I'm the president and CEO of the California Veterans Assistance Foundation. Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. I'm standing here before you in support of this proposal for a shelter. My organization provides transitional and permanent housing for homeless veterans here in Kern County. And we're having some of the same issues that Jim Wheeler brought up with flood. I have an outreach staff that can come in and we can find homeless veterans on our streets and in our community, but unless we have a place to send them first with their other people, possessions, and pets, they're going to stay on the streets. About a month ago, my agency, we saved a couple with 11 dogs that were living in a travel trailer. We know that they would have died had we not intervened. The animals had gone days and weeks without food. The couple, the veteran was disabled and could not get in and out of his travel trailer, and there was no place for them to all go that was safe. And we managed to save them. And that's why a low barrier shelter is critical for the population that's on our streets. I was afforded the opportunity to tour Veterans Village of San Diego that sponsors the Veterans Sprung Shelter in San Diego, and it's incredible. The resources, the services there, the staffing, the people, how it's all set up and run, it is incredible, and it is needed in our community. And it's urgent that we serve the people on our streets in our community. We all know the numbers have been increasing. The veteran numbers have increased. But we cannot provide solutions unless we are willing to take the risk on different alternatives housing, whether it's emergency shelter, whether it's other transitional housing programs, or whether it's other permanent housing programs and modalities. So again, I'm here to urge you to approve this. We need a shelter like this quickly, efficiently, and safely in our community. And I thank you for your time.
Deborah, could you just explain to
Yes.
the public your proximity to where this facility is proposed to be?
So my organization, we actually have 6 different facilities throughout the city of Bakersfield and bouncing a little bit into Kern County in the Oildale area. So right now I have a facility in the Oleander area, so I'm approximately 1.5 to 2 miles from where this facility will be.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Nick Ortiz with the Bakersfield Chamber. Trying not to wear out my welcome today. I would say that I think that I have worked with all of you on some very vexing issues, and I usually have a very specific request when I'm standing at this podium and speaking to you. And I will tell you that I think that this is probably the toughest issue that you all will deal with in some time, if not in your entire careers in public service. And I do not envy being in your shoes or the shoes of the city council right now. Because what I can tell you from our perspective is that our members, my constituents, your constituents, are calling out and crying out for action. We have studied these issues for so long. We've looked at other things, and I respect everybody around this issue. We are housing these people in some way downtown right now, and we need action. And so I think that you will always be faced with this choice of if not there, where, if not now, when. And what I would really encourage is we have, again, I'll come back to yesterday and our announcement about this innovative work that we've done. I like to tell people about Kern County and Bakersfield and talk about the way that we solve problems here. We do not wait for some Superman or Superwoman to strap on a cape, jump in, and give us the answer. We do it collaboratively, and that is our primary reflex, is to bring everybody together and try to figure out a path forward. And so I really commend the CAO's office in bringing this forward. I would really encourage the continued collaboration. I'm very excited to see that the county and the city are going to take over the continuum of care and really try to drive towards results and metrics that we can measure and that we can try to get ahead of this issue. And I would really encourage continued collaboration. I know that there's going to be a discussion about this at the City Council tomorrow, but right now the public wants action. And so if this is the right course according to your board, then I would really encourage you, work with us, work with the DBA, work with those business owners, Mr. Carter, Mr. Smith, all those people who've invested so much in Eastchester, in Mill Creek, to make sure that what we're doing is going to move the needle, is going to be respectful of the investments that they've made, and is going to get a result. So again, I really appreciate what all of you are doing, really encourage that continued collaboration and problem solving, and really appreciate all of you for public service, because this is a tough one, and you all are going to have to make some very tough decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Pritika Ram. I'm with Community Action Partnership of Kern. I'm joined by
Rebecca Moreno.
Yeah, we're on behalf of Jeremy Tobias, our CEO of CAPK. We'd like to lend our support on this project. We currently run the coordinated entry system, which is a single point of entry for individuals experiencing homelessness. And we'd like to expand our role in that and however we can help with this population by way of coordinated entry, providing meals, providing food pantry options, whatever our umbrella of services can provide, we're happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gloria Ann. I'm a director and founder of DSHLD. It's DSHLD. It's a new nonprofit organization here in Bakersfield. And we have multiple properties, vacant land lots that we currently own. We own 5 lots in the in Kern and Ridgecrest area. We have 4 lots in Ridgecrest. We have 1 in Kern, and we have 1 here and south of Bakersfield. And we are proposing permanent housing for low-income and homeless individuals. For the ones in Kern and Ridgecrest, we would build homes. 1 home would cost about $200,000 to place 8 individuals in quadruplex housing with shared kitchens. We're proposing for low-income and homeless youth here in the Bakersfield area to accommodate 140 off of our lot, off of Southgate on 4 acres. The other properties would be for low-income or homeless veterans and seniors. Those are the properties that we accommodate that would probably house a little over 100 people. So right now, the properties that we have available, we can only house probably 250 people. That would take some of the strain off of Bakersfield, the people that's in the Bakersfield area. Most of the homeless individuals that I spoke with, the seniors and veterans, they said they are willing to relocate to Kern or the Ridgecrest areas as long as they're in a safe area, and most of them do receive their benefits. They would only pay $225 a month for an unfurnished unit and $275 a month for a furnished unit. So that's what we're proposing here. The only thing we don't have is the funding in order to build these homes, which it probably would only take 4 months to build 1 home to accommodate 8 people. So basically, we would build 4 homes first, and then on the other lot that we have is 1 acre that would house more than to accommodate the people. So that's what we're proposing. To let you know that we are a new nonprofit organization here in Bakersfield that we're starting to offer the alternative housing. So we are looking at other lots here, and I think that the county also has a lot of lots, vacant land lots in the city of Bakersfield that they can use to accommodate the people as well for the homeless population in the Bakersfield area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Russell.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Russell Judd, the CEO of the Kern County Hospital Authority and Kern Medical. One element that has just come to light that hopefully adds some urgency to this situation is we have a pilot program called Whole Person Care that is funded by the state that is focused on homeless. The state has just recently released some additional funds. This type of project fits within that grant, and if we can move this forward by September 23rd, if we will submit our application, we can draw down and contribute $1 million to this project. Comes through us, through the state. It needs to be focused on the improvement of mental health as well as physical health in the homeless community. the project that Ryan has outlined with the low barrier housing, but with wraparound services there. We are committed to be on site. We have a physician as well as other healthcare providers with those funds, as well as with the physical structures that are there, can provide those services. So I know this is not a perfect plan. I know, though, that this is a start. If we sit around and wait for a perfect plan to be developed, we'll be waiting a long time. This situation, there's not going to be a single location, there's not going to be a single plan, there's not going to be a single strategy that's going to solve this crisis that we're in, but this is a great start. And so I would encourage you to move this forward so we can turn in our application by the 23rd of September so that we can draw down these additional funds and turn this $1 million over to the county for funding this project.
So, okay, I'm sorry, can you describe for us what status do we have to have, or does the city have to have, so that you can turn that in?
I think this approval today, saying that it's moving forward, it's in the planning, we can then allocate it to this project and draw down that $1 million, which will go a long ways in building the structure, building the wraparound services. We will have to spend it within 18 months, but I don't think we'll have a problem spending it within 18 months.
Thank you. Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. Supervisor Couch, members of the board, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. I attended the meeting along with our district attorney, Cindy Zimmer, last week on the homeless issue. This is an issue that started back in 2011. In my opinion, realignment was what kicked us off down the road that led us where we're at today. If you recall, under realignment, the counties were able to provide better care and better service to people that needed them than the state was. Therefore, those prison inmates were all moved to our county jails. And if you also recall, in 2011, we did not have any empty jail beds. People were doing 20% of their time. We were trying to keep them as long as we could to get them into programs. The programs at Lerdo were starting to have great successes. We were having people line up out there to attend, whether it is anger management, their drug addiction, whatever their issue was, we provided the mechanism for them to address that. They were then handed off as they left Lerdo and had done their time. They were handed off to probation or to mental health or whatever services they needed. And we, again, we're seeing some great successes. Fast forward to 2014, and we had Prop 47 that was sold to the constituents of the state of California as a Safe Neighborhoods, Safe Schools Act, when in fact it decriminalized possession of heroin, methamphetamine, theft of a gun, of anything less than $950, and we really got on a slippery slope after 2014. The people that are out on the streets, we have two separate issues, homeless and people who have drug and mental health issues. And we believe that the largest percentage are the people that have drug issues that are preying on our community, stealing from our constituents. And I get phone calls every single day. Our citizens are done. They're through. They want something done, and they want law enforcement to do it. The laws in California have not made it easy for us to do that. Under Prop 47, a person that's arrested for a misdemeanor is cited right back out on the streets, and if they have a drug addiction, we can expect the same result. They're not going to go out. They're not going to get help. When we had them at Lerdo for extended periods of time, we had them in a controlled environment. They lined up to get into the programs. When they're on the streets, they're lining up to find drugs, not to get into programs. Fast forward to 2016, Prop 57 came along. This was the legislature saying that everyone deserves a second chance. Let's kick everybody out early, and we started doing that. In my jail today, we have over 600 empty beds. We've never had empty beds in the history of my career. Those 600 people, I can show you where they're at. They're on our streets, and they're preying on our citizens. We believe that providing these beds that you're talking about today is just one portion of what we have to do. This is a multi-pronged approach that we have to have. Just building beds will not fix this problem. If that's all we do, 5 years from now, we'll be back here talking about the same exact issue, only the numbers will be larger because we're going to have these people that are still on our streets committing crimes. We believe that there is a way to get there. The district attorney and I have met with Supervisor Scrivener. We've met with the CAO. We believe that some of these people need to be in custody. A large percentage of these people that are committing these crimes are not going to get help. They don't want help. They won't go to your free bed. And if they do, it'll be for one night, and there's no way to keep them there. They're still going to prey on our citizens. And I can tell you our citizens are demanding action. They're demanding more action than just providing beds. They're demanding action from the sheriff and from the district attorney to arrest these people that are committing crimes and to prosecute them. Our district attorney has been talking to our judges. We have a buy-in for these judges to sentence these people, even though they're misdemeanors, to longer sentences. Up to a year in the county jail is what the law allows. Given a year in the county jail, we will have the opportunity. I don't believe we're going to save everyone. We know that. We haven't saved everyone in the past, but we do know that those programs have been successful. And I promise you, we have to address this from several different angles. The beds are a requirement because case law doesn't allow us to move people off of public property unless the county or the city provides beds for these people. So we have to go, we have to offer them a place to go. If they refuse to go, we can then move them. If not, and they're out here in front of this building, they're going to be allowed to stay there for up to 8 hours to get sleep. That's the law. And that's troubling, but that's what we face. It's not as easy as it sounds to go out and arrest these people for drug possession and take them to Laredo because they have possessions, and they have a large amount of possessions. And that they use shopping carts, as many as 3 or 4 tied together. That's their mode of transportation. And they save all this stuff, that some of it's disease-ridden. And we have to take that stuff when we arrest them, we have to store it, we have to inventory it, and we have to make it available to them upon their release. If we don't, it becomes very valuable if we don't have it when it comes time for them to be released. So in a nutshell, what I'm asking you today is to look past just these beds. Look at the 600 empty beds that we have at Laredo. There are people that need to be in those beds. It will require more staff, it will require more money, but if we're just going to throw money at a problem to make ourselves feel better and not have an impact, we should save our money. If we're willing to do this from a multi-approach where we take the people that do not want help, that are abusing drugs, that are out kicking our doors in and stealing property from the people that you represent, then let's do nothing. But I think we can do something. I think we can have a significant impact, and I would ask you to really consider that. Allow the district attorney and me and the CAO and other key players to bring back to you a plan on what we think will have a significant impact, or at least an impact, on this homeless situation, because this is not just a bunch of homeless people that don't have a place to live that are on hard times. That is not what we're dealing with. In law enforcement, we talked yesterday, we believe up to 80% of these people either have a mental health issue or they have a drug issue or both, and they're combined. And I think it's time for us to either to do something, but let's don't do part way to make ourselves feel better when we know it's not going to be successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. I have some Supervisor Scrivener and Supervisor Perez have comments, and you might need to respond to
The
them.
district attorney's right here as well,
Yeah,
if you'd like to ask her.
Well, what I did,
Please.
Donnie, first of all, here. I mean, you did such a marvelous job of encapsulating what we talked about yesterday and your extensive experience in law enforcement. You see this for what it is. Yes, we know that we need to provide some bed space so we have a place to take people who are camped out behind a business, on the freeways, wherever it may be. But you have such a large element of folks that are homeless or they're on the fringe of becoming homeless that are terribly drug addicted and we need, as the district attorney said yesterday, and I should probably touch on it again, you have to have the stick to go along with the carrot for some of these folks. And so, Madam District Attorney, would you come up and expand on what you have in mind, please? Because I think that you have a plan that will work.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name's Cynthia Zimmer. I'm Kern County's District Attorney. The sheriff has accurately described to you a major reason why we have this problem with homelessness. AB 109 and Prop 47. We had the ability to help people who had drug problems, and these laws have hobbled us now in law enforcement. But it's still illegal. It's still illegal to possess drugs. It is still illegal to steal and vandalize in order to support one's drug habit. I applaud the efforts of the city and the county and Mr. Alsop of looking at ways to house some of our homeless population, but it's not going to be successful with at least a component of our population unless we do something with them if they're committing crimes before they go there. We would like to be able, I have a plan, I have partners in this plan with probation, with the judges. We'd like to be able to not give someone a ticket who has possession of drugs, a ticket to someone who's vandalized, a ticket to someone with a promise for them to go to court, because they don't go to court. They don't go to court because they're high and they can't make these kinds of decisions. They have to go to jail. They have to go to jail and understand there is a consequence for lawlessness. And while they're in jail, they need to have the help that they need, at least for 10 days, be able to get their wits back about them and make the proper decision so they can, if upon a plea and placement by probation, they can do so with a clear head and go out into the community and have our community's help for rehabilitation. These are programs that we saw when these crimes were felonies. I don't see a reason why we cannot do this because they are misdemeanors. I think it can work. And I'd like to be a part of the solution. Again, I applaud the efforts to try to get people housed, but it's not going to do any good if all people care about is where can they get their next fix. So thank you.
Thank you. If I may, Mr. Chairman, if you would indulge me, Russell Judd also joined us in that meeting. There's a program he has, it's called the MAT program. Russell, are you, is he still, there he is. He slipped into the back. He was in front. I think this is another key component because there's actually a way to start this treatment while they're still incarcerated. So, Russell, would you just briefly, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me. This all ties in together, and so I thought it's important if they all went.
Sir, this is it's called MAT, stands for Medicated Assisted Treatment. There are pharmaceuticals now that can be given to individuals who specifically have an opioid addiction. That medication significantly increases their ability to get off of the opioid addiction. It makes the high irrelevant in their life. But the key element is they have to be sober for about 8 days. And so this 8 days in a locked facility allows them to sober up while they're on the streets. They can never get sober enough, long enough for this treatment to work. And so we are providing it now through our whole person care program, working with the Sheriff's Department. So individuals who are about to be released, who have had an opioid problem in the past, they're receiving this treatment. We've been doing it now for a couple months. It's had shown some great benefits. And so this would be another arm while they're in the facility. I'd like what the DA said about get their wits about them. Let's get them some help. Let's get them some services and take the street out of them rather than taking them out of the street.
You bet. Thank you. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Sheriff, I have a couple questions. You mentioned the stay in the local jail, that could be extended, or we could work as a community to make that more productive time. I think that's an excellent presentation.
Yeah, currently we arrest on a misdemeanor, issue them a citation, out they go. They promise to appear, which they never do. We go out and arrest them again, give them another citation, which this time they promise they will appear. And this is a vicious cycle. They're not coming back. The people in the streets know that 950 barometer from Prop 47. They know they can walk into Target and take whatever they want, as long as it's less than $900. Not only are we not going to do anything to them, but Target employees are not going to intercede with them as well. So they've figured this out. very, very quickly. And the state of California is not going to fix this Prop 4757 issue that they created. So I think the only thing that we can do is arrest them, get the judges to keep them in custody, give them a trial date, and do what we have to do to try and help them if they choose to. And if not, at least they're in a confined area where they're not going to steal your stuff.
I think that's sound. How much time do you think you could get on a one-year sentence of actual served time? Given our Fed cap kicks, given those other realities, how do you
Probably
see
up
that?
to around 6 months. I think it would be a realistic guess, but 6 months
Actual months.
Yes, 6 months is a long time. Right now, the minimum side of our Laredo facility is empty. Those are barracks that we really don't want to use, but the new mega barracks that you all built is also sitting empty. Max Mead has, I think, 80 people out of 350. Those are empty beds, and those people, it's not because crime has gone down, it's because we're not doing anything with the criminals, and we're allowing them to prey on our citizens. I think it has to stop, or it's pretty much out of control now. But if we let this grow anymore, we're not going to be able to contain this.
Do you see, Donnie, a role for Laura's Law to play? I know that you supported Laura's Law. That is a controversial law. We are in a much different situation now than we ever were in addressing the issues that Laura's Law attempts to, reasonably and in a way that protects jurisdictions from legal problems, as you know. Do you see a role for, that law to identify people who are really, the folks that we see? I think I told you, Donnie, I had a woman with a metal rake coming after us on our street.
Right.
It was pretty horrifying, as you can imagine.
And you live in a really good neighborhood, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
because
close
it's right.
to you. Right. I wanted to call you, but it all happened so fast. We called BPD, they never came. They have big issues they're dealing with. I get that.
That's a separate issue that we're working with the Bakersfield Police Department as well. So, they have the 1 cent sales tax. They're going to have more officers. I think you're going to see a better response. But my big fear, just like on the 1 cent sales tax, is if the city starts pushing all these people and we're not, guess where they're going to go? They're going to go into Oildale, or they're going to go into the unincorporated area of our communities. They're smart enough to do that. And so this has to be an approach from both city and county. That's why I applaud the efforts of the city and county combining on this, because it really is going to require all of our participation to have an impact.
Well, when you come back with a plan, Sheriff, I sure would like to see the relevance of Laura's Law. I mean, we've put it into place. You really went out on a limb to say sometimes we need to be more aggressive than we are comfortable with when it comes to severely mentally ill folks that are continually harming themselves and potentially, the world around them. So I'm curious about that interplay and how we can protect ourselves to some degree, right, as a county, but also think, realistically about the tools that we have to get folks stabilized. And I remember it distinctly, Donnie, as a public defender, I would send folks away because I couldn't even really have a conversation with them that was reasonable or sound, and I didn't feel comfortable moving forward. They come back, different people, Donnie.
I think you attended one of our graduations at Laredo from the RSAP program, Residential Substance Abuse Program. We actually had 3 class speakers every graduation that stand up and talk about how they don't want to let the deputies down that help them get through this program. How they and they mean this. Now, they're not all going to be successful. They're not. But what they are going to do is go out and give it a really good try, because drug addiction is a horrible disease. But we do know that some of those people have not been back to Laredo. So we know we're having some successes, and realignment got us there. Prop 47 yanked the rug right out from under us to continue those programs. So I think that there's hope, and I think this is the right track. Whether this is the right location or not, that's not my issue, but it certainly is the right track, because we have to have those beds to be able to move people along and to try and have that stick, as the DA so aptly put it. Because if you don't have that, you've got nothing, and they're not going to get help, and they're not going to, they've become empowered. I don't know whether you noticed that or not, but the people that we deal with have become empowered on our streets. They don't mind getting into your face. They don't mind drilling a hole in your diesel tank and draining all the diesel out on the ground just to get 5 gallons. They did that to me in front of my house. So they don't mind doing all this stuff for $20 or $30, causing thousands of dollars of damage. And I think our citizens have said enough's enough.
Well, I think people want action yesterday on this, and this board needs to make some tough decisions, as you know, Donnie. But I think it would help us to know how you feel about that location, given its proximity to the downtown area, given the need to move bodies and how incredibly difficult that is coming from somebody who moves bodies to and out of court all the time. You know, help us with some context.
There's been
Sheriff.
some great comments made on that location today, and I can tell you this, the most important comment you heard is from the gentleman that says, doesn't matter where you put it. You're going to go through this process no matter where you put it, because nobody wants it in their backyard. Nobody, including me. But it has to go somewhere, and I think that the decision that this board decides it has the least impact is the one that we should go with, and I think the CEO's done some really great work. He's gone way outside what his job description is to help us get along with this process, and Ryan's to be commended for that.
Sheriff, thank you so much.
Can I ask a quick question, and I'm going to go to Supervisor Gleason. The plan, your recommendation to us is get some buy-in on this particular location, but you're going to bring back the operational plan, a budget, essentially, to run this operation. I think we need to see that along with what the DA and the sheriff are requesting at the same time.
We're working together with him on an overall
Is that part
package.
of what you're going to bring back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was one of my questions, is we're going to talk about budget and how this is going to impact your budget, but I think that's already been discussed, it's coming back. But while I got you up there, I have the sheriff, I have the district attorney, and I have one of our foremost leaders in CSAC. And I'd like to get, we're not alone. This is a statewide disaster. So my question to each of you would be, what efforts are you aware of any movement moving forward to repeal Prop 47?
We would be the only county that would take the lead on something like that. I do believe if we were able to get it on the ballot, that the people in the state of California have had enough. Even the liberals, I believe, would vote to repeal Prop 47. There are, the district attorney is working on a portion of Prop 47 with Mayor Go to overturn some of that on the theft issue. So we're working piecemeal to do that. It would take an enormous campaign to overturn Prop 47 because the voters voted it in. It requires the voters to vote it out, and that can be a large step in the state of California on an issue like that.
Madam DA, do you have any thoughts?
Yes. Supervisor Gleason, there is a proposition that is qualified to be on the ballot in November of 2020 that closes one of the loopholes of Prop 47. It doesn't completely, but it's a step in the right direction. One of the things that was, in essence, eliminated was petty theft with a prior. That was a crime that was a felony. That's gone now, but this would really reinstitute petty theft with a prior, lower the limit of someone that has 2 prior theft convictions and a theft of $250 or more. That would be a felony.
So within your statewide organizations that you both are members of, and Ms. Perez is also, are we alone? Or is this a statewide disaster? So why did the sheriff say we would be the only ones taking the lead on repealing Prop 47? I don't think most people would. Most counties would like to do this.
Well, this is a statewide effort to do this. The retailers are involved in this, as are the, I think, the Sheriff's Association and different law enforcement associations. So we're not alone, but we do realize that Sacramento doesn't help us. They're not going to help us in this fight to repeal 47. So we have to go to the polls and have the voters do this for us.
Supervisor Perez, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I punched in. Thank you, Mick. Prop 47 was a voter-initiated proposition. It was not initiated out of the state like 57, as you know, Cindy, which was initiated by Governor Brown. He did not like 47, for the record, and he told me that a lot of times. Donnie, you know that as well. So there are efforts by people that get going, that get funded, and they're not always the people who understand the implications and ramifications as well as the experts you're hearing from today. So this kind of effort that's much more localized and much more focused on what's actually happening in this community, I think is the best approach, right? All of the experts, all the subject matter players that know what they're doing and understand that the impacts have real practical problems. This idea, I mean, the reality of people previously being able to get in-custody drug treatment programs and then continue that on the outside. I understand Donnie has been extremely effective, and I had many clients who would extend their stay in custody or, you know, try to engage in some kind of deal making in order to stay in custody, receive the certificate. It's often 30 days, Donnie, as you recall. This can be very, very productive, very effective. Donnie and I have worked very closely on bringing services into the jail that connect people up to the things you and I take for granted in an otherwise civilized society. So this is complicated around the state. There are many counties that are frustrated, over 47, more than 57. 57, of course, driven by the previous Governor Brown, 47, a lot of people didn't care for. So this is an interesting methodology to think about how we as local officials, Donnie, right, tackle our problems head on with the subject matter experts that are here and recognize it takes a lot of tweaking. California's got 40 million people. It's the 5th largest economy in the world. Lots of people want to be here. It's got some of the mildest climate in the world. That draws a lot of homeless people. We have 21 of the 30 most expensive housing markets are in California. And you have relative wage stagnation. So you've got a lot of people being priced out of a housing market that otherwise they might be able to participate in as law-abiding citizens, Donnie, but we're not looking at that problem from this sort of layered way in which I think you guys are doing, which is great.
And if you recall, Governor Brown came to Kern County, visited our programs, and specifically called us out in his State of the State speech about the programs that we had at Lerdo and the successes we were having. So
I know, Donnie.
We've led this charge, and Prop 47 really yanked that right out from under us. You know, Prop 47 was called Safe Neighborhoods and Safe Schools. It was so far from that. The title and summary was written by our Attorney General at the time, well, I won't go any further than that, but it was, and I won't even mention her name, but it was horrible, and we're here, I believe, because of that. And I just think that we have an opportunity here that won't be there very long. And this opportunity, the CAO has taken the bull by the horns, the DA. We can have an impact. And the people downtown, if you know, take a drive out Kentucky Street, from not just downtown, but Kentucky Street. And when you get to Mount Vernon, before you get to Mount Vernon, turn right on Center Street and drive for 300 yards and come back and tell me that you'll think you're in a third world country. It is our second largest county dump that we have, and it's not a legal dump. It's people living along that railroad track, and the people that live in those neighborhoods deserve much better than what they're getting from us.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. I agree with you that the politics of this is a disaster. I think Prop 47 is a miserable excuse for a poor law, and whatever I can do, personally or as a member of this board, to help any effort to repeal Prop 47, I'm all in my offices. My question is, I think this one is for Mr. Alsop too, is, now my understanding is AB 891 is on its third SB, I don't know if it's SB or AB, 891, it's on its third reading in the Senate, and that has to do with creating a parking lot for the homeless. Are we aware of that? And are we taking that into consideration, if the likelihood of that passing, how that's going to impact the investments we're making here? Have we considered that, or are we aware of that?
I'm aware of other legislation that is material here, not that. Lorelei, are you familiar with this bill? Amanda? You?
Supervisor Gleason, through the chair, yes, I have been watching that bill, and that is part of what the state is providing us is tools for our toolbox. And so when you have a minute, I'd like to clarify the tools that have been provided that Mr. Alsop and his office are using for this particular center, but that would be another tool that we could use.
So you don't see that the two conflicting? I mean, that's just going to be an added capability, and our budget's going to be able to accommodate if we decide to accommodate?
Well, if we decide to accommodate it, and I want to also clarify a little bit about how you access this funding.
At the conclusion of the public comments, I'm going to go to Mr. Alsop and to you for, don't worry.
I'm sorry, I extended my
That's
questions
okay.
more than you authorized me to do. I'm sorry for doing that. Thank you very much, both of you, for your contributions.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quickly, I obviously agree with the sheriff, everyone who thinks that Prop 47 was a huge mistake and has created an environment where we're unable to, I think, help people who really need that help that incarceration can offer, because they get into the sober living environment, they start to clear their head, they can get treatment. But even within the existing parameters of Prop 47, I think what the DA and the sheriff are talking about can have a huge impact on the problem. And so that's why I asked them to come here and share what they have in mind to do, because I think that we need to think about that in the context of spending money on what Mr. Alsop and his staff are proposing. I think we also have to consider this in our larger budget context, that this will not be inexpensive to do what they're proposing. I think that 120 beds in that particular unit that the sheriff talked about is about 1.6 million roughly to staff it. And if we add, and that would be men, if you add women, it's an additional roughly the same amount of money. And so this is a difficult time for us to be talking about budgeting for something like that. But I think that we really need to think about that as we consider what we're doing here with the shelter that staff is proposing. I do know that the city of Bakersfield supports what the sheriff and DA are talking about. I spoke to Mr. Tandy today, and I'm hopeful that they're going to be open to helping us. I know that they've talked to the DA about funding some prosecutors, and so this would go along the lines of doing a lot of good, I think, for a lot of people and also all of our constituents that are dealing with the problem. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you indulging me.
Thank you. Carlos, would you like to go next?
Chairman, thank you. Board of Supervisors, good to be here this morning. I have been working with Mr. Alsop and his staff the last probably 5 days, because this has really been a really quick turnaround. I'm here to support as far as giving them direction with operations, because it's going to take a lot to get this accomplished. There's a lot of facets that go into place where, you have mental health, you have substance abuse, you have many, many things to take into consideration that it's going to take subject matter experts to give direction. And I have pledged my support to Mr. Alsop and his staff to keep moving the ball forward. This is a need. We experience this at the mission at Kern County each and every day. And the problem has just gotten worse. And, we're tackling it. A lot of times we just look at each other as staff, like what else can we do to deal with this situation? As I support the DA and the sheriff today talking about this initiatives on reversing Prop 47, I do think this is a culmination of all those things that have compounded to where we are today. It's not just a housing issue or a homeless issue or a drug issue or a mental health issue. This is all those things combined. And when we work with the population that we work with, a lot of times they get lumped up into everybody that has a mental health issue or everybody has a drug problem is a homeless person. I mean, they've even mixed in the criminals in there. And, but as far as I'm concerned, from a lead agency in this community, we're going to make sure that we're navigating this with the county and making sure that it works out. So that's my support.
Thank you very much. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Bill Walker, your Director of Behavioral Health Services. It's kind of hard to say where to start. First, let me say we have just revamped our Laura's Law program, and we are having multiple referrals every month. And I'd love to make a presentation to you privately or even bring it back to the board, because we literally changed it in the last 6 months, and it's doing very, very well. But I also want to thank Mr. Carter, who's leaving, who rolled up his sleeves to get involved, not just to say it should be here or not be there, but rolls up his sleeves and is involved. I want to thank Mr. Alsop for stepping forward with a plan, and I want to look at the balance of all of this. I can remember in my career when we didn't have substance abuse services in Laredo at all. And our sheriff, partnering with our department, engaged those services. And I remember when I was in the AB 109 meeting where somebody had an ankle bracelet on and thanked the sheriff in the meeting while still wearing the bracelet, because that's how far we've gone. I taught for 25 years at Cal State in the substance use counseling program. And there's a portion of every class of people who got clean and sober because they were incarcerated. I wish everyone could get clean and sober by not getting incarcerated. I wish everyone could go to the low barrier shelter and move into one of our sober living environments. But I want to strike the balance and offer to be the best partner, because I think everyone brought forward part of the answer. I don't think anyone brought forward something that I was in total disagreement with. I want to support the low barrier shelter with staffing and with services. We want to be engaged with the district attorney and the sheriff on services for substance and mental health in the jail, as we are now, and to what degree we can do that. And we want to, with No Place Like Home, the Kern County Housing Collaborative, and Mr. Alsop's plan, to have a stronger oversight over the services of that collaborative. I think all of those need to move forward. But today, enough is enough. I really like the idea of bringing both forward the fiscal plan and the increases of services of short-term incarcerations, with also our outpatient services, because almost a huge portion of those individuals will need ongoing services from our department. And this year, we've picked a new true north, and our true north is best partner. We want to be the county's best partner, the city's best partner, your best partner, the sheriff's best partner, and of course, the constituents and the individuals on the streets' best partner. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I actually was not expecting to speak this morning, but first I want to thank the district attorney as well as the sheriff and Supervisor Scrivener for working on this so closely. I mean, this is such a critical thing.
Can you give us your name for the record, sir?
Oh, yes, Matthew Martin.
Thank you.
Yes. So this is such a thing that's taken over our community. And I sit on Downtown Business Development Corporation. I tell you, we spend so much time talking about building these apartments and what's going to happen when we do our block walks. You know, people are being assaulted. We had a business in downtown for, several years and had to move it. I mean, this is really destroying our community. And so building apartments is not going to solve a problem if we don't have more services for them, right? So if we don't take it to the next step. So I think that that's a critical plan so we can get them off the streets, get them treatment, get them help, and then they can become productive members of society. So again, I was just going through the drive-through line the other day, and a guy, I shared this with some of you, and a guy came up to the window. He says, "Give me $1 or I'll scratch your car." And I said, "I beg your pardon?" He says, "Give me $1 or I'm going to scratch your car." And I said, "No, no. This has to stop. And the only way it does is through tough decision-making. This county can be the example. Like the sheriff pointed out, like you guys know, you are so proactive in getting a lot of wonderful things done for our community. And it starts with sometimes making a tough decision. And I think you guys are doing the right thing. So again, I just want to thank you and hope that you guys support this plan that the district attorney and the sheriff will bring forward. And thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Any other speakers?
Hi, I'm Tonya Valpredo from Luigi's, and I just actually want to ask a question. And the question would be to Ryan, does the county own any other buildings, sections of land that can be used other than the one that you proposed? Because I can see Mr. Carter's idea of it, you know, on such a busy streets. And I know that it's, I mean, I've had to slam on my brakes several times in the middle of the day just to miss people that have stepped out in front of me. So I'm just wondering if there's any other avenues that we can search that are maybe further away from where we have all of the centers downtown in the 05 district. Thank you.
When we finish public comments, I'm going to turn to them, and I think they're going to address a lot of the questions that have been raised so far. We'll make sure that that one is addressed as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
And hopefully last, Michael Turnip Seed, representing the Kern County Taxpayers Association. What we've seen today in what, 2.5 hours? This is a very complex issue. The center on O Street is not going to solve the problem, but it's a piece to the puzzle. We have a lot of puzzle pieces to put together in the near future, and you're going to need a lot of partners to do it. So you just need to be the first one and move forward. And I think there'll be challenges and concerns, and it was important enough that my former board chairman, Jess Frederick, showed up today, and you know he's a pretty smart guy, and he's a pretty busy guy, so it's important to him. It's important to my board members, so just understand that this isn't the end of the game. This is a long drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments this morning? Okay, I'm going to return it to the board, but sorry, are you still in? Okay, just didn't get rid of that one. I'm going to call on Supervisor Maggard first, but I'm going to ask Mr. Alza and Ms. Oviatt if you'd like to respond to questions and comments that you heard earlier today.
I would, Mr. Chairman, and then I would ask Ms. Oviatt to provide some comments too. A couple, Jess is not here any longer, and I believe Mr. Carter has gone. In response to some of their comments, access, concerns about access, I think he used the words, we want them, they're going to zoom in. I mean, I hope they do zoom in. That's what this was about. This is about creating a low barrier property and shelter where the homeless that are camping out in and around the Garza Circle, along 34th Street, down Truxton. I mean, you can go on of various areas, zoom into this area and out of those areas and camp out there. Crossing Golden State, I mean, they're doing it anyway. The area is filled currently with people walking around homeless looking for things to do. That whole area is. So I would, obviously security, safety, all of that is important, but I think that they're doing it anyway. Permanency, this is an immediate, what we believe is an immediate solution to getting people off the streets and into a place where they can stay. And we don't believe it's something that, at least from our vantage, not permanent. It's not a permanent place. This is an immediate, indefinite solution while we continue to work with our stakeholders, our partners, our service providers, the taxpaying public in the city of Bakersfield to look for additional solutions that will be required and hopefully be more permanent. We've heard that 100, 150 beds may not be enough, and it's probably not enough. This is one part of the solution, along with making sure we're firing on all cylinders on the law enforcement side. So there's that. To Ms. Valpredo's question, and she and her son are here from my all-time favorite restaurant, Luigi's. But we looked at all county properties that we have available throughout the immediate area, the Metro Bakersfield area, and no others, in our opinion, anyway, offered the space, the square footage of existing warehousing. You can't see this spot from anywhere in the area. It's zoned industrial, so it's zoned appropriately. It's very centralized to a lot of the problem areas and the main corridors. It is not interfering with any businesses or homes in the immediate vicinity, in our opinion. And it's central. Having a facility that is in a location that can be accessed by large numbers of people that are camping around is important, as opposed to having a facility where you're having to bus people like way outside of the downtown area. I don't, and maybe this is a mistake to say this here, but I don't really consider this particular property downtown. I mean, that's just me. I've lived here. I grew up here. I moved away for a while, but north of Golden State in this area along the train tracks, to me, is not downtown, but I think it's near enough to serve as a centralized location. The facility in Texas that was raised, that's a Xanadu facility. I mean, it's $18 million a year that is spent on that. It's top notch. I've seen it, not personally, but online. I've had many conversations about it. There's a lot of money that's pumped in. They've got a former oil executive CEO that runs that place. There's just a lot of money that's pumped in there. What we're proposing here is not that. That's important to understand. In terms of security, 22 people, maybe so in Texas at Xanadu, but here, no. I think if you talk to Carlos Balavinos, who runs the mission, the mission's located right near Luigi's, right near Pyrenees, right near Wool Growers. There are businesses in that area. I think he's got one security guard there throughout the day. Maybe Gina would say that's not enough. Maybe we need more. I don't know, but we would work on an operational plan that provides the appropriate level of security on site at this facility, and that would be a top priority of us. In terms of, I think lastly, in terms of the proximity of various property, there were some comments made by Mr. Carter, and I appreciate and respect him. I don't know him very well, but I do respect his points of view, along with other people that are supportive of what he's saying. He said, not in our little location up here. This is an industrial zoned location that, I think, being born and raised here, I could probably tell you it's not the best looking spot in town. On the weekends, it's a ghost town, except for people driving to and from on Golden State, getting to the freeway and trying to get over to, the airport or on the 99, trying to bypass downtown. Other than that, there's nothing really going on in that area. It's really been largely ignored for decades. And I could point to places all around there. It's so bad in that area that the Montgomery Ward's building across the way can't get anything going there. And so, we're fortunate enough to have CityServe using that building to do what? To serve the homeless out of that building through church groups and whatnot. If this is not an ideal location, let's have a discussion about it. We don't know everything. If you have a more ideal location, then we're game. We have not yet heard of a more ideal location, no purchase price, no lease negotiations, ready to go. Our staff is cleaning it up as we speak. It'll be cleaned out in 20 days and ready to go for immediate solution. The argument about doing something behind DHS, and I understand the plans of the homeless center, those are long-term plans in my view. There are properties that need to be purchased or leased or built out, we can get on board with that. I have lots of respect and great admiration and trust of Louis and his abilities and his board and the mission of their organization. And we can get behind that, and that might be something that's long-term that we can do. But to say that this location over on Golden State is not a good location, but planting it over in 05, I think that's 05, right in the middle of a neighborhood. I mean, there's a neighborhood. There are houses across the street from this place. There are businesses across the street. You go across Truxton, there are businesses across there. Luigi's is over there. There are homes. I don't understand why that's better than this. Is that part of a longer-term plan and an effort that we can get behind? You bet, if that's the discussion and the direction that the Bakersfield Homeless Center is going in. But it's longer term. This is immediate for your board before the end of the year. Ready to go. Lorelei, I wanted to kick over to just maybe talk about proximity to the Hall of Fame, Mill Creek, all these things.
Members of the board, Lorelei Oviatt, Director of Planning and Natural Resources. What I would like to put a circle around for the public who's watching this is, what is a navigation center? This is actually a new concept. There are a few of them, and people have visited them. But on July 31st, just 2 months ago, the Assembly Bill 101, which is the Housing Budget Trailer Bill of 2019-2020, which includes over $1 billion of housing, a variety of housing money, also brought you new tools, and this is one of them. So it's only been 2 months since this bill was signed by the governor, and in that bill, they defined this new navigation center, Housing First, Low barrier, service-enriched shelter. It is not designed for people to stay there for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. It's not designed for that. It's designed to get them in off the street, provide service-enriched support that includes public benefits, health services, other kinds of shelter, housing, and moving people in and out of this facility. So when we say that it provides 150 beds, those are not 150 permanent beds for people, and then there's 600 other people who don't have beds. It's designed to move people in, find out their needs, working with Mr. Walker's group and Flood Ministry and all the other kinds of service providers to move them on to the next step. So that's why it is called low barrier, meaning they can bring their pets. There would be pet options there as well to get them vaccinated, spayed, whatever we need to do for the pets, as well as get showers and other sorts of things. So it is a different kind. That is some of the work that the shelter does, the Bakersfield Homeless Shelter, but that is only an adjunct to them. So this navigation center, in that bill, was provided exemptions from CEQA for you. It also mandates that you cannot go through a public hearing for this, and it was intended to help streamline. It's intended to provide streamlines permitting. You're having a public hearing today for your board to take action on it, but it was intended so that you can access this money. The one barrier to accessing all grants, either at the federal or the state level, is the California Environmental Quality Act, the public process, the rezoning, and the other things that we all have to go through. The legislature is clear that we have a crisis at the local level, and they have provided you this tool. The action that you are to take today provides you access to those funding opportunities. You don't have to exercise them. If the CAO brings it back and you make a determination that the funding mix, an operational mix, is not quite what you need, but your action today is designed on this agenda to provide for the grant that Mr. Judd mentioned, to provide access to the $1.7 million that the county has been allocated from this. It has been designed for that. The number one impediment to us taking action in the past has always been these kinds of long-term processes that we have to go through in order to get to the point where your board can actually feel confident that you have the funding. I think this is a message from the state of California in AB 101 and the governor that they're going to give you more tools. Which tools we want to use is up to you. So I would, I'm available for any other questions. The reason that this piece of property works is because it's your property. It's county designated as light industrial. The city's zoning and the variety of options that they have are more constrained because of the way their zoning ordinance fits with AB 101. And so that is why this particular property has come together in a way that other projects may not have all of the criteria. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Start with Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I look at this issue, I think about it's like we're about to try to eat an elephant, and we are next to this big, huge thing, and we can't imagine how we're going to conceive of how we can eat a whole elephant. But what's the old saying? You eat an elephant by taking one bite at a time. This is one bite. On March the 25th, 2019, a friend of mine named Wendell Vinson sent me a video called Seattle is Dying. That's the point at which my mind shifted about homelessness in our community. Because I still don't think we're as bad as that video depicts Seattle to be, but I can see it from here. It's the same thing I said when I brought it to the board, the issue of this, the video and my concern in a couple weeks that followed March 25th. It may not be Seattle, but we can see it from here. And we are way closer today than we were just 6 months ago, when at least it dawned on me. In the interim, I have seen men and women lying on the concrete and the asphalt in my district in 110-degree weather. Their faces are blistering on the asphalt. Their brains are cooking, and they are going to die. And they are my constituents. I did not ask them to move here. I didn't cause Prop 47 or AB 109 or Prop 57. I didn't cause those things to happen, but now they're mine. Also, who are my constituents are all of the neighborhoods west of F Street in downtown Bakersfield, and all of the neighborhoods below California Avenue that are west of H Street. Those are my constituents too. And lots of people in unincorporated Kern County, lots of people that live within cities. And it doesn't matter whether they live in the city of Bakersfield or Taft or Tehachapi or Ridgecrest or Delano. Everyone who lives in Kern County is a constituent of one of the five, and all five of us. And I think that it calls on us to do something about that. The tide of mentally ill and addicted people that are causing these problems in our community, as Mr. Carter said earlier, the public's done with it. I'm done with it. We have to take action. Jess Frederick said, it's the wrong location if it's the only location. I am certain that it will not be the only location, because our colleagues at the City of Bakersfield, first of all, they want to help solve this. And secondly, the public demands that they help solve this. Our mayor gets that. Our mayor has communicated with me and told me that I can say on her behalf that she supports this effort. There are other people that support this effort, and I'm very confident that the city will join us, so this won't be the only location. But there's a fire in our house, and we have to deal with it, and I think this is the first step towards doing that. This location is not perfect, but it is the best location we have. I am very sorry that our friends, many of the folks who have concerns about this location are my friends. They've been my professional colleagues over the years. I'm sorry they have those concerns, but we have a responsibility to act. You know, when we were elected to office, we're elected to represent, and we're elected to lead. And I think the time is now for us to lead in this. I think it's also important for us to assure the downtown neighborhood that is adjacent to this property that we will make every effort to make sure that it doesn't degrade that neighborhood. the trash, the loitering, enabling homeless to gather in the area and spread out into the neighborhood during the daytime cannot be tolerated. And the trash that is there cannot be tolerated that we see in other areas. So I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that those things don't happen. And I'm confident that the city of Bakersfield will help us. This is in the city limits that we're talking about this. So city resources will also be poured into it. But a few years ago, about the time I was transitioning from the City Council of Bakersfield to the County Board of Supervisors, a tragedy happened at Casa Loma Park, and a family was gathered there to have a birthday party. And some cowardly people pulled up with a couple of AK-47s and sprayed the crowd and killed innocent people. The result of that was that the city of Bakersfield and the county of Kern came together and developed a gang task force. We poured millions of dollars into combating that effort, and we incarcerated, we locked up and took off the street the shot callers who were responsible for wreaking that kind of havoc on our community. Well, it's a different crisis, but I think this crisis is even worse because it permeates not just a few neighborhoods, it permeates every conceivable neighborhood in our community. So I'm so thrilled that my colleagues have voiced their interest in helping solve this. Everybody's going to take different bites of the apple. I too would love to be a part of helping to repeal Prop 47 to support the DA and the sheriff in following a model that frankly is demonstrated in the Seattle is Dying video, and that is to take those worst offenders who can't handle it on their own. We need to deny them their liberty for a time so we can walk them through a process to do that. The Lanterman-Petrus Act is the law by which people can have their freedom denied them if they cannot take care of themselves. We need to look at changing the way we deal with it, the way we view it, expand its opportunities so that we can help people escape the tragedies that they're in. But this isn't just about helping the homeless. This is about saving the rest of our community. So I am thrilled that my colleagues are interested, and I want to thank Ryan particularly for, he is like a junkyard dog with this. I jerked on a chain and said sick 'em, and he has sicked it. He has gone after it. He has done, and even as we speak, he is just, and it isn't just me, I'm not saying it's me that's doing this. He is responding to our community to do this. So I want to thank Ryan particularly. But I also want to thank Amanda. I want to thank Jose. I want to thank even Kathy Kraus for helping us get on the agenda today, because the time to act is now. And nobody knows how government works unless you're behind the curtain in it. But Kathy and Lorelei helped us get this on the agenda today. So with all of that said, it is my pleasure to make a motion that we will, and it's important that I read certain elements of this in the record because there are, as we heard, there are some who are going to oppose us. We must be able to defend and overcome that opposition. So I'm going to read into the record the wording that's important. My motion is to receive and file to make a finding that this action is exempt from CEQA under Section 655660B of the Government Code and Section 21080B1 of the Public Resources Code, to approve the construction and operation of a low-barrier navigation center on the county-owned land subject to final construction costs and the development of operational and funding plan. This does not solve the problem, but we're going to join with our colleagues at the city, we're going to join with the private sector, and we're going to, and all the people that live in neighborhoods who they cannot wake up another morning with a homeless person in the backyard and all the messes that are in their front yard. The public demands that we do this. So that is my motion, and I am thrilled that my colleagues are interested in helping.
Supervisor Gleason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, I got a couple things. I'll make it quick. Mike, I want to thank you for your leadership in this. I know you've been after this, hounding this thing down for quite a while now. I appreciate your doggedness in getting it done. Mr. Alsop and your team, great job. Appreciate it. I really respect Mr. Carter, and I really respect Mr. Frederick and what they're saying in their properties and private property right, and we have to keep that paramount in any movement decisions we make in protecting their vital interests, because they are completely aligned with what we're trying to do. I also like to ensure that while we're tackling this problem, we have other areas in the county that are vitally interested in the homelessness issue. Kern River Valley specifically has been inundated with a terrible plague of homelessness that needs equal attention as we move forward. The last thing I want to say is inaction is unacceptable. We must move forward, and if this is the thing on the plate that is best served by the most people, then I'm going to support it, and I'll second the motion.
I have a question and some comments, and they're not very extensive. Homelessness isn't just happening in Bakersfield, so I want to add to the mix that we take a look at utilization of, we're utilizing an asset that's just sitting there. And there are assets that are just sitting there in Kern County that we should inquire about as well. And I'm talking about something called the Sunset Labor Camp out in the Weed Patch area. There's something also in Shafter. And there's an empty one right now in Wasco due to the fact that high-speed rail was going to take it out. They've moved all the residents over to a brand new facility, and it's just sitting there. I think high-speed rail will eventually demolish it, but there are assets that are sitting there, and one of them is sitting there completely empty now, for good, I believe, or until it's demolished. The other two are empty, I think, about 5 months out of the year. That it's not a perfect solution, but it's another tool that we ought to be utilizing. That's, I think it requires state approval, but the Housing Authority of Kern County has indicated that they'd be willing to ask for that. I also want just to encourage you, and I know you were doing this, but I want to encourage you to continue to work with the city of Bakersfield, because if they come up with a better idea, better location, whatever, I want us to be able to move on that as well. And lastly, I recognize what you are trying to do with this recommendation, and I want to understand it. I'd feel a lot more comfortable with the whole recommendation if at the end of it, it said approved by the Board of Supervisors. And that's what I mean is all of this is subject to a final construction costs and development of an operational and funding plan. Are we going to see that plan, I guess is my question. Is it going to come back to us that we get another chance to take a look at it? Because given the comments that were made by the sheriff and the DA in their conversation with Supervisor Scrivener, I think it's important to have that come back to us. Is that your plan, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any of the lights on. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay. I'm sorry? We're not all done. We have two more items. So nobody go anywhere. Item 37 under County Council is a public hearing to adopt a resolution ordering the cancellation of the remaining unused and unsold balance of general obligation bonds for the McFarland Unified School District. Ms. Rezan.
Thank you, Chairman. This matter is before your board this morning for your board to conduct or to open a hearing and receive public comment for and against cancellation of school bonds related to the McFarland Unified School District. This has no financial impact to the county. The statute simply requires that your board hold this hearing in order for the district to receive authorization to cancel the issuance of the bonds.
Okay, so any questions by the board before we open the public hearing? We'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak to this topic. Mr. Turnipseed.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Michael Turnipseed representing Kern Tax. The Kern County Taxpayers Association asked the district to deauthorize these funds because in their 2012 election, they got a little zealous and got more money authorized than they can reasonably ever issue. And this is money that won't be issued until after 2035. So we asked them, they want to do something else, so we asked them, first of all, to deauthorize this loan that they can't ever access, and they have agreed to do that. So we appreciate the county doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and return it to the board for questions, comments, and action.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
We have a motion.
Second.
A second, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That takes us over to item 65. That was taken off the consent calendar. So under the Public Health Services, it's a proposed addition of, well, there's some addition and of a program and services specialist and one program coordinator position and the concurrent deletion of 3 fiscal support specialists in budget unit 4110. Mr. Constantine.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is very brief. I'm here to identify that the agenda language that is on the agenda itself is not correct. It reflects a previous board letter, a draft board letter. The actual board letter itself remains accurate, so I just wanted to read in what should be on the agenda so that we're very clear on what we're being asked, and what you just summarized is correct, Mr. Chairman. It's the proposed addition of 1 facilities and services specialist position, 1 environmental health specialist 4 position, and 1 program coordinator position, and the concurrent deletion of 3 fiscal support specialist positions and 1 part-time public health nurse junior 1-2 position. This has a fiscal impact of $12,367. I'm sorry. As a savings, yes. Thank you.
So that's all you needed to read in the record? And
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone here that would like to make a public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for action.
Motion on staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
It takes us to the end of the morning agenda. We just need a motion to adjourn to closed session. Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you.